No water! No water! No water! No farmer! No farmer! No water! No water! I say what we need, and you're going to say water. Because we here to get some water. Lots of water here this side of Sacramento. What we need, water. What we need, water. What we need, water. What we need, water. What we need, more water. Thank you, thank you. And now I want to request Paji Jasveer Singh Sidhu, please come to the podium. Let's do ardas. Let's do prayer. And then we start our speeches. Paji, who's coming for ardas for the English for the farmer? Ralph came in. Anybody? Ralph? No?
Ralph.
Oh, who?
Yeah. We're going to start with the prayer. Is Ever here? Ever? Come on up, please.
Good morning, everyone. Let's pray to the Lord to bless this beautiful day in Capitol Hill. And let's close our eyes. Father, thank you for bringing us today, Father, to the Capitol Hill, Lord. And bless every one of us, every leader, every farmer, every worker who works in the fields, Lord, to put food on our tables. Father, we pray in the name of Jesus to bless this state, Father, to bless, Father, our nation. We pray in the name of Jesus, Lord. Bless every family, every worker, every single kid, Lord, that they're gonna receive, Lord Jesus, the laws that the leaders are planning to pass. And we pray for justice. We pray, Lord, for peace in our nation too, Lord. Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for the opportunity to be here and raise our voice to our leaders, Father, that they can hear us, that they can hear, Father, that we need water, that we need, Lord, Father, to work in our fields, Lord, to put food in our tables. Father, in the name of Jesus, we pray this morning. Amen. Thank you.
ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਜਸਲੀਨ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਅੱਗੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਜਸਲੀਨ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ
Thank you, Ji. I'm Jasleen. I'm a farmer myself, and I'm going to do ardas in Punjabi, or a prayer in Punjabi language. Ardas bolo ji Vaheguru, He Vaheguru, He Paramatma, He Tan Tan Guru Granth Sahib Jiyo. Pehla paani jiyo hai jit hariya sab koe, kita lodiye kam so har pe aakhiya. ਕਾਰਜ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਸਚ ਸਾਖੀਆ। ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਮਹਾਵਾਕਾਂ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਹੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਚਰਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ। ਸਾਰੇ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਸਰਕਾਰੀ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਪੱਤਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹਨ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਅੰਗ ਸੰਗ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸੁਣਵਾਈ ਕਰਨੀ। ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਾਣੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ। And I'll just translate very quickly in English. Dear Vaheguru, please bless us as we embark upon this journey of standing up for farmers' causes. We ask for your grace, guidance, and wisdom today in getting our voices heard. At the same time, we also pray for the well-being of everyone around us. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So, we're gonna have the first speaker, Mark Mercado. Why don't you come up, Nagata?
Good morning. Welcome everybody. We're glad you're here. Thank you to all the organizers who have made this event possible. Today, we have a crisis. This crisis was not created by us, but it has fallen upon us to deal with it. Okay? Today, we have a water problem. The problem goes way back. And our forefathers did a very good job of putting a plan together. This was started way back in the early 1900s, and in 1930, the legislation was enacted to start the dam building process. And in fact, if we look at history, Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the New Deal provided funds for the Central Valley Project. And that, along with state monies through legislation, really is what fueled the state project. Okay, so the federal government and the state government both built projects. Okay, the federal project's bigger. It's called Central Valley Project. It's several hundred miles long and basically runs through the whole state. So I don't know how many people know this, but you could literally take water from northernmost parts of California and you can run it all the way down to the Mexican border. That's how extensive this conveyance system is. Okay? And it was built over decades. But what I want to point out is that a lot of this work was started and done before and right after the Great Depression. So our forefathers put a lot of work into, a lot of hard work into building all of these dams and all of this conveyance system. Unfortunately, the state, for the last 50 years, has done a very poor job in managing the projects and the conveyance systems, which is why projects haven't been built. So again, if we look back at history, right, the state had at one time enough water for all the residents. But what happened is the state population doubled. During the time that this project, the state population had doubled, we weren't building projects to stay up with the demands of the state. In addition to that, our farmers are using half the water that they used to use. And they're using half the water because that we are not putting water back into the underground. Because we're feeding crops, and our crops are more productive than they've ever been. Yet, we're not putting water back into the underground. So farmers are using 5% of the water, not 40, 5. And the reason that they're doing it, more surface storage. I've heard from many different groups, including the governor, talking about, hey, you know, I've got this great plan. We're gonna make 2 million acres. So they want the farmers to go out of business. They want to repurpose 1 million acres to create a 2 million acre foot underground storage. Several problems. One, the farmers that are being damaged, you can't convey it, it's never going in the underground. Today, we have neither the system to capture the water nor the system to convey the water efficiently. It could be rebuilt, dams could be built, but there hasn't been the appetite to get that done. There needs to be. I think right now, ladies and gentlemen, the mood is changing in the state of California. I think that the residents of this state are waking up. What we have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we have to unite. Water is not a political issue. It should never be political. It's a human issue. Every resident of this state is a vested party because we all use water. So this is not a left or a right issue. It's a human issue. What we have to do is we have to all gather together and we have to push back on the special interest in the state, because the special interest, let's face it, they have stopped every project that's ever been tried to be built in the last 50 years, including the one that was on TV the other day, Sites Reservoir, started in the 80s. It was conceived in the 50s, by the way. Okay, it was identified in the 50s as a good place to put a reservoir. In the 80s, legislation was passed to make it happen. That was 40 years ago. The money's there, all the environmental work has been done, but because of special interest, it hasn't been built. Okay, that's just one project, and there's 20 just like it. Okay? What we have to do is we have to decide that the interest of the people of California have to come first. So, one of our asks, one of our demands is that the governor set aside environmental regulation, right, and that we build more surface water storage. Okay, the governor could, if the governor can push aside environmental regulations to get a football stadium built, he can put aside those same environmental regulations and let's get a dam built. Let's get a few dams built, right? Now, the other part is we have to fix the conveyance system. Our conveyance system in this state at one time was the largest, best conveyance system on the planet. Okay. We haven't kept it up. Okay, so another one of our demands is this. The state board, the state water board, is appointed by the governor. Not elected by the people. They're appointed by the governor. That has to end. What we're proposing is that the irrigation districts and the water districts up and down the state, they will nominate and they will elect the board. Because, let's face it, the irrigation districts and the water districts in the state, they know water. They're the experts. What we need is we need a group of experts to manage the conveyance system, to decide on what projects and what order and how this gets done. That is the most efficient way to do it. That's not typically what the government does, but the government is the same entity that screwed the whole thing up. Okay? That's the truth. And until we put some common sense, reasonable solutions in place, we're not going to get anywhere. Okay, this has to make sense. And if you put the best people in the right place, that makes the most sense. That is the best for all of us. It really is. So that's another one of our demands. And the fact of the matter is this: when that gets done, everybody will benefit. And I know that we're going to have several speakers today. Many of them have a great story to tell. And I was talking to one of them this morning. We call him Uncle Hyde, right? And he's probably the oldest person here. And he remembers all these things. And he's going to tell you guys a bunch of stuff that's going to blow your mind about the way things have been. And you will realize when he's talking how far we've fallen and how disgusting it is that we've fallen this far. The good news is it's not too late. We can fix this. But we in the San Joaquin Valley need to reach out to our brothers and sisters in Northern California and Southern California, and we all need to come together, because it is with one voice that we will win. But we need, like I said, our brothers and sisters from Northern California, Southern California, and the coast to join with us, because this is in all of our interests. And I'm happy to see that we have many different religions, many different races, many different skin colors here today. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming. And it just shows how much this issue means to every resident of this state. Okay? And I know that many times people say, well, you know, my voice doesn't matter. Collectively, all of us, all of our voices do matter. And ladies and gentlemen, why can't we get this started here today? So let's make today the starting point for our movement, which will carry forward beyond today into next year, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years from now. Okay? Let it be today. Let today be the genesis of the movement that gets this thing done. That's what we need. So thank you very much for coming. And, you know, I'm available if anybody wants to ask some questions later on. But basically, this is where we are. And I'm asking all of you, I'm asking all the people watching on TV and on the radio to come together. Let's all put our swords down and let's work together to get this done. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mark. Would like to shoot out to everyone. Thanks for coming out. It's a great effort. Everyone that's here is done an excellent job waking up early in the morning and to be here. I think going a little bit more on it, on behalf of the United California Farm and Labor Organization, we really like to thank you. So if we go through, it's very well understood the climate changes around the globe. It's not just in California, it's everywhere. And it's having a severe impact on the people that are backbone of our community, people that build grounds up. They're the ones that are getting affected. So continuous extreme drought for last 3 years is getting hotter, drier weather with less rain, less snow, and higher increase in evaporation. So it's basically, at this point, our federal and state policies of the water management and allocation is bringing this whole community to the forefront. The Central Valley is suffering because of the policies and the legislatures we choose to make those policies and execute to those policies. So due to these ineffective policies, California farmers are going through very tough time financially. So every time they're having to take more water out of the wells are drying. It's costing hundreds and thousands of dollars to repair and get this done. And it's putting a lot of communities at the livelihood of a lot of people and the food scarcities around the globe. United States is a leader. California is a leader. We need to step up and act up like a leadership. And so if we really, as Mark gone through, farmers are blamed way too many times that we are taking too much water. The reality is, If we look at the total water, it's about 130 to 200 million acre feet of water that rains every year. We capture 50% of it. That's about 100 million acre feet of water that the California is able to capture. Storing is another question. So if we really look at where does this water go, the municipalities, we have 13 million homes that take about 10 to 12 million acre feet of water. So that's 10%. So 10% of the waters are going to municipalities and the cities. And when it comes to agriculture, agriculture takes about a 34 million acre feet of water. Of that 34, last year, our allocation in the Central Valley was 5%. That really means the surface water that we're getting is only 5%, and rest of the water is getting pumped out of the ground. So the grounds are depleting, the aquifers are going down, and rest of the water is going to the environment. So if you look at the number, 70 or 80% of the water is going to the environment. That's really on a different purposes which the state and the federal policies have decided. So when somebody is telling you that farmers are taking 40% of the water, is totally untrue. We have only taken 5. So if you look at the California state, we have 9 million irrigated acres. Of that, 6 million are in the Central Valley. The Central Valley truly deserves surface water of 22 million. How much did we get out of the 22? About a 1.1 million. So we are being undershored, and it's causing a lot of stress, financial stress, family stress, and the stress on the communities. So everyone that is on the forefront of it, we're totally at this point relying on the groundwater. So what the state and the valley farm, the policies are doing, they're giving us 5% on the surface, which we deserve 34. They're basically limiting us on the groundwater, penalizing it, so we cannot take any more. What does that mean? That really means the whole valley will be wiped out. The communities, the stuff that's happening in Coalinga, that will happen to every community. It doesn't matter where you farm, you will be affected financially till we basically get bankrupt. Farmers fully support Sigma, the water policy that state has sent out. But let's look at the policies. That policy basically, as signed in 2014, said we're gonna do more storage. So the storage which the government talks about is the Sites Reservoir and others. It's been going on since 1980. No work has been started. So all of these are funded. They're funded by bond measures. There is no financial issue. It's the will of the government to create more storage. So that's the reason we're here. So no storage is created. Last year alone, 800,000 acre feet of water was let go because of mistakes that were made by the authorities in charge. So if you look at it, 1.1 million was surface water was given to the farmer when 800,000, close to 1 million, was released into the ocean. So we are for the environment. The underwater ground quality is impacting the yield. It will impact the nutrition. We cannot continue to rely on the underground water. Our government needs to step up, take responsibilities on these policies to save the whole Central Valley. And farmers are the stewardess of the land. We planted over 1 billion trees. These trees are basically taking carbon dioxide, CO2, that's giving people the air that it needs. By not providing these powers, as you go see along 5, lot of valleys, the trees are being removed. essentially what that's translating to, the government policies are basically hurting the environment, and therefore we basically need to really request in the policy changes that are coming up. So there are elections in next 2 weeks, and we support all politicians. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican or you're an independent. Everyone needs to be aware on the policies that the candidates stand on. Please find out before you vote. You have right to elect the right leaders that will get us from out of this situation. For the last 30, 40 years, problem is continuing to get worse. Our share right of 30% of surface water has never been delivered. So you could look at the state data. Data will tell you it's degrading down to 5%, as we talked about last year. And who knows, with another drought year, we may go down to 0. And we're requesting all elected legislatures and policymakers to save the valley, save the farms, save the communities, and basically avoid us getting into the food securities. And we do have set of demands that we will give to legislator and our governor. Those are basically we'll be handing out to the elected leaders today, and they're basically very simple. We're asking them to take up their responsibilities. First responsibility is a financial. The climate change is not created by the farmer or the Central Valley people. It's a worldwide phenomena. We're asking, when they're not providing the surface water, we are forced, the farmers are forced to take water out of the ground. They must take responsibility on all of the groundwater costs that the farmer are incurring, and avoiding them to go into the bankruptcy, including a lot of the deepening of irrigation wells. Other thing is, every policies that we talked about, they all talk about 2030 long-term solutions. We don't have long-time farmers in the valley. If they don't receive innovative ideas, we got about less than 2-3 years before the whole valley will be pulling out every permanent crop to really basically there is no water. So we're asking the legislatures to come back into the session, look at innovative ways. There are a lot of water coalitions that we're working with to come up with things like cloud seeding, things like others, things we could immediately increase the supply. Everyone talks about the demand. Demand will not save the Central Valley in the next 2-3 years. We're asking above ground storage. As Mark went through, the storage is only 25%. The government has been trying to do that for the last, who knows, 20-30 years. There are a lot of litigation, lawsuits that are basically stopping from various groups, such as environment groups, that are avoiding creating new sites. And also we're basically, as the California leadership has done before, the SoFi Stadium was built within 2 years. They had to suspend all of the environmental laws to do so. Our request is, in order to save the Central Valley, we are requesting that the environmental laws be suspended so the sites can, the storage capacity can be built, and the dams can be increased the capacities. Other thing we're looking at it is today, some of the thing is the people who are making decision are all appointed. When you're appointing somebody, they don't have any responsibilities. We want requesting this to be an elected body that's accountable to the people that elected them. And we're basically, look at it is, we're polluting our waters. So there are a lot of wastewater and sewage that is being sent into the ocean that cause allergies and other issues. Then those are basic demands that we're asking. This is not a political issue, it's a human issue. We need to bring this to the forefront. So every candidate that you're gonna go vote for, ask these questions. We will have all of these requests, demands, we will put it out on the tables. If anybody has questions, please go on info@puggyusa.com and you could give us your input. So today, the valley is at a very dangerous stage where if we don't get enough surface water and the groundwater is depleting, there will not be any farms, there will not be any communities. You could essentially look at a desert that'll be in the whole Central Valley. So once again, thank you for coming. And what I wanted to say is, as we said, the government for the people, by the people, to do the right thing for the people. We want to hold them accountable. So, and with this, I'm going to bring in David Rogers, who lived through this. He is the Board of Supervisors at Madeira, and to basically take 2-3 minutes to give his inputs.
Thank you, Mr. Sidhu. I'm very proud to be here with you today. You are the backbone of America. Every person I see out here, you are the face of America. And you get up every morning and you do what others can't do. Those who go into office buildings, those who go into other places to work, you grow the food that the world eats. 50% of the nation's fruits, nuts, and vegetables comes from the Central Valley. We can't do without that. You get up every morning and you do a job that they can't do for themselves. And so thank you for that. What are farmers? Farmers are providing food, fiber for the life-sustaining elements that we need every day. Water is life. You take away water, you're taking away our life. You take away our ability to grow the food that gives us life. So farming is critical. This is a critical element of our lives. Got to have it. Can't do without it. Farmers are the original conservationists, the original environmentalists. You want to take care of the land. Your family farms mean everything to you. Unlike Sacramento and some of the other places where they're dumping 3 million gallons of sewage, raw sewage into the ocean every year, and they use the Sacramento River to flush it out to the ocean. We're not symbolism over substance. We really care about our land. As Sidhu mentioned, 1 acre of tree provides enough oxygen for 18 people a day. 1 acre of trees removes the pollutants of 36,000 miles of driving per year. That's real environmentalism. And we grow the food that the world eats. That is a national security issue. That's a food security issue. And what is the problem? The problem is very simple. If you take away water, we can't grow food. They've taken away 800,000 acre feet per year from the Central Valley Project. That's wrong. They dumped 800,000 acre feet out of Oroville Dam this year by accident. So there's a lot of mismanagement going on in this program. And we've got to bring awareness to the issue. Today is a single step that begins a 1,000-mile journey. There may not be 1,000 people here today. There's probably 250, 300 people here right now. but you represent 1,000 people, each of you, that are farming in the Central Valley. You represent 1,000 people that go out into the fields and pick the food every day. You represent 1,000 people that provide for their families with farming. And the problem is very simple. The state has misallocated the water. We can't continue to grow food when there's no surface water. Surface water is critical. You can't replenish the groundwater without surface water. We have to have the surface water back. You can't have surface water without storage. Gotta have it. It's a must. So let's get back to the basics of this issue. Are you tired of bureaucrats telling you what to do? Are you tired of those in Sacramento who are not elected representing you? Because they don't know what you need. They don't know the problem. They don't know the issue. I had a guy from the DWR tell me what you need to do is flood mar. You know how many years we've been doing flood mar in Madera County? All the way. See, they just don't know the issue. They're not in the field. They don't represent you, and they're telling you what to do. We need people who are elected to represent us and actually represent us. Not tell us what to do. Not pass more laws. We don't need more laws. We don't need more regulation. You're the most over-regulated industry in the history of this state. So we need to bring it back to the people. We need to take charge of our own destiny. The next time we have this event, we need 5,000. We need 10,000. We need 50,000 people in this square to let Sacramento and Washington know we mean business. This has come down to life or death. The life of an industry or the death of an industry. The life of the family farm or the death of the family farm. And the fact is, there is a very sinister thinking behind all of this. They want the family farm to go away. They want the corporate to take over because they can control it. When they control the water, they control the food. When they control the food, they control the people. This is about control. We need to take control of our destiny. There are more of us than there are of them. Let's vote them out if they don't do what we want.
Good job, Roger.
Thanks, David, and that's the truth. I think the next our good friend who's been behind in this whole effort is Ralph Petrosi.
You want the truth? Is this thing on? Yeah, you're on. Let me put it up higher. Okay. That's good. First of all, thank you for coming. But I'm going to tell you the real truth, okay? David, listen to the real truth. You gave a really nice speech, but you're the guy that voted to impose the fees to put us out of business. Okay, what he said you need to listen to, because we do need to get rid of all the people that aren't worthy of representing us. That's what you need to do. But people and politicians talk out of both sides of their mouth. To you, they tell you one thing, and then when they vote a different way. And that's what I can't stand. I came here to talk to you about a 218 proposition that was put forth in Madera. And I want to warn every one of you that's a farmer that they do not do this in your community, in your GSA. Because what was done was deceptive, it was trickery to take money from you farmers. Completely unfair. They did it by doing deceptive mailing of a petition that said if you don't want to be taxed, you have to issue a protest ballot. They made it difficult, they made it impossible. We got wind of it and we changed it, and we got some of the county to succeed in getting rid of it. I want to warn every one of you in every community that you come from to pay attention to what's going on. Because if you don't pay attention, they will do the same thing to you that was done in Madera County. Madera County was like an experiment to see how they could do it. And they're not, believe me, they want to put you out of business. What David Rogers said is true. They do want to control you. They do want to take the water, all right? But he voted to do it. He voted to do it. He was one of the 5 people that voted to do it. So you better listen to who you're listening to. You better listen to who you're listening to. They could tell you what you want to hear, but what they do is something completely different. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. You and I are very similar. I wear a baseball cap, you wear a turban, but we've both worked the same. We stayed up, we harvested night and day, fixed equipment, suffered, lost crops to hail and frost and rain and everything else. We understand how hard it is to make it in farming. What is happening in California is pathetic. This state is the envy of the whole world. It has mountains, it has good weather, it has labor, it has knowledge, it has industry, it has ports, it has trucking, it has everything it takes to provide food for this state, this nation, and the world. And what are we doing? Instead of expanding what we have, we want to contract it. We want to pump less water. We should be finding ways to bring more water into the valley and open up the west side that they turned into a desert. The people that are in this building are not thinking right. You need to put the right people in this building. And you have a chance to do it in November. Do it. You do it. You need to call people up that you know, find out about them, and put the right people in here. Because we don't have the right people. We need to get projects going. We need to get things done. We need action. But we need truth. We need truth. And the truth is, if people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing for the benefit of the entire population of California. You know, this morning, I got up, I took a nice warm shower. I took it for granted that the water was gonna be there and it was gonna be hot. And when I flipped on the lights, you know, it was wonderful that the lights actually came on. Do you know in LA, they're in danger of not having enough water. They're in danger of not having enough power. What happens in a state? Where is the security of a city if some of those resources are gone? You'll have chaos. We have to have food security, water security, and we need to have it if we're going to survive in this state. I encourage you all to vote. Be made mindful of what people tell you, and God bless you.
Thanks, Ralph. Next, we're going to have Mark Pizan. He's going to talk about 2 to 3 minutes on water storage.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for putting this together. And to you, Mark, over here, great rendition of the history of what has been a vision in the early 1900s into the 1930s and now has fallen on deaf ears in the past decades. My name's Mark Pazin. I was the former sheriff of Merced County and actually patrolled the west sides of Merced County and sometimes into the Fresno County area. The decimation of farmers in those areas has been just breathtaking. I'm running for state assembly, and this is one of the causes that I will champion. Mark Pazin is with you. I have been an advocate and trying to get legislators back in 2005 to just bring up a pre-engineered exchequer in the Merced-Mariposa area, but due to special interests, it fell on deaf ears and into the trash bin. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. You've heard it. I just want you to know that Mark Pazin is behind you, and I will do everything in my power to stand up against the special interests who have just stymied the Sites Reservoir, exchequer. The main thing that we have here, we have shovel-ready projects that are already pre-engineered. We just need the right legislators in this building, and I am your person. Thank you very much.
Mark, thank you very much. Now I'm going to request to, who's Mark? Mike Wade. Please come to the podium, Mike Wade. And today, this is a day for our day. Farmer Day, Water Day. I want to request all the candidates, please talk about the water, not the fault of the politician for today. Talk about us today. We need water, that's why we're here. I request to humbly to all the assemblymen, all the politicians, please, no politician, just water only. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Mike Wade with the California Farm Water Coalition. There's never been a more important time to protect food production in America. California is a leading agricultural state in the nation. Water supply cuts continue to erode our ability to grow food for the country, which highlights the critical importance of maintaining food security through locally sourced foods. We can fix this now with regulatory reform, plus new and upgraded infrastructure that will deliver the water our farms need in the future. The multi-year drought we're facing in many parts of the West, coupled with other domestic and global developments, is already affecting the ability and price that families pay at the grocery store. Rising food prices and global hunger are linked to the war in Ukraine, as well as water shortages here at home and other global stressors. Today's world is full of uncertainties. Our food supply should not be one of them. California is a critical part of what has long been a proud national agricultural powerhouse. Our country has consistently run an agricultural trade surplus, but in 2009, for the first time in 50 years, we had an agricultural trade deficit. That deficit, importing more food than we export, is expected again in 2023, the third time in 4 years. This growing deficit is driven mostly by our dependence on imported fruit and vegetables. An increased reliance on foreign food has never been a policy of the United States. The Global Agricultural Productivity Report, or GAP report, first quantified the difference between the current rate of farm production and the pace required to meet global food needs. That report predicted that we would need to double the amount of world food production by the year 2050 to meet the needs of a growing population. But the 2022 report shows that global farm production is on decline. Reversing this, the GAP report says demands urgent action. And a vibrant California farm economy can do just that. We can help toward reversing the trend, but we need water to do it. We're seeing higher and higher food prices for food, fuel, and fertilizers, and it's hurting families that are trying to make ends meet. Many in the farm community are concerned that the grim global food supply conditions we expected to come by 2050 now may hit 10 years earlier. So our number one priority should be ensuring the ability of California farmers to meet future food demands of consumers here and across the United States. Because when we're competing with others around the world for an inadequate food supply, prices at the store will continue to rise. The economy remains a top 10 concern of almost 40% of voters, followed by inflation and the cost of living. Yet few of our political leaders and most in the media are not connecting the dots between the loss of farmland and rising prices brought about by food shortages. The time to act to restore farm water supplies is now, because when grocery store shelves are empty, it'll be too late. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Next, we're gonna call Melissa Hurtado. She has done such a wonderful job. She has raised voice for agriculture where there is no voice, and really trying to help the whole Central Valley. So, Melissa.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, they have to adjust the microphone here. I'm 5'1", so bear with me. Well, good morning. I first and foremost want to thank you all for making the drive here to have your voices heard. It's about time, folks. People, Sacramento needs to hear, Californians need to hear what is going on. Americans, not just in California, but outside of California, need to hear what is going on with our water situation and food, and soon our food situation. We all know here in California we have a groundwater problem. We all know that. And I know, and you know, that you want to be part of the solution, and you are part of the solution. But I believe the real problem is less about you and more about fraud and market manipulation over our water in California. That's right. California's water history reminds us that it's not just investors who are to blame for fraud or market manipulation. We must also consider the role that professional consulting firms play in our water outcomes. The inherent complexity of SGMA has left some GSAs in need of hiring private consulting firms to help them develop their plans and also to measure regional and local water use. The framework of GSAs, the various water measuring models and data have not been properly vetted. They have not been properly vetted, folks. So how is it possible that some farmers are being charged for water when their pumps are off? How is that possible? How are you supposed to pay for something when you never used it? The problem only gets worse because a design is intentionally formed to push you out. And investors are ready to profit off of you. They're ready. Which is all the more alarming when we hear that investors may be purchasing water rights to sell water back to farmers and towns, all while marking the price sky high. That doesn't only make me angry, it makes me scared and nervous, and everybody should be scared and nervous. You know, I have real concerns that private investors and their interest on water rights purchasing is worsening our water crisis. These people are purchasing our water to make money, not to use it to grow food or crops, but to sell it for the highest price. I don't think that's drought profiteering anymore. I feel like it's racketeering at this point. And folks, we do not want our water or our land being monopolized. And that's essentially what's going to happen if we continue to allow this. Too much is at stake. The world is facing a global food crisis and a water crisis. The stakes are high for all Americans because you feed us. And I'm told that 1 acre of land feeds about 3 to 4 people, including a child. Imagine this. We are being told that 1 million acres of land will be fallowed. Although I think that that number is going to be much larger and much sooner too. But who will feed the 4 million people when those acres are fallowed? 4 million people. What will happen to the small towns like Coalinga or Avenal or Tiviston? Where will they get their water? They're already struggling. And what about the 60,000 farms and farmers in California? Where will they go? Where will you go? What will you do? Farming, for many farmers, goes back generations in our families. I know my father and our family farmed in Mexico, and then they immigrated here and were farm workers and worked in agriculture. And I know that story is very much true for many of you, if not all of you who are here today. So what will happen to you? What will happen to us? And what about California's economy? Agriculture is the backbone of California's economy, contributing more than 21.7 billion in exports alone. Again, I believe that farmers have the solutions, but politicians, yes, including myself, need to hold bad actors accountable. This is why earlier this year, I asked the Department of Justice, the U.S. Department of Justice, to look into whether drought profiteering and data manipulation surrounding water is occurring here in the state of California. I believe it is, and I think that you know that it is. And I want to end with this. To any and all who are profiteering off this drought, you're doing something indisputably immoral. We will find out who you are and make sure you are held accountable for your wrongdoing. Thank you for having me here.
No, thanks, Melissa. She's been always a champion of agriculture, and really thank you. Next, we're going to have James Gallagher come up and speak on the water issue, the impact it has. Again, guys, we have snacks in the back. Anybody that needs tea or water or anything, please grab it yourself. So, James?
All right, how's everybody doing? Great! Thank you for being here. This place needs to hear the words of the farm community. This place needs to hear from you. And that's why it fills my heart with joy to see so many here gathered talking about this problem. A problem that comes out of this building right here. You're working hard every day. And I speak to you as an assembly member, as a leader of our Republican caucus in the assembly, but I also speak to you as a farmer, where we're now wrapping up our harvest of rice and walnuts in the northern Sacramento Valley. And we know it because we see the pain. Hundreds of thousands of acres were fallowed this year in our area because of this water situation. It's a policy problem. It's not just a drought. We have long had droughts and floods in California. The problem is we are not investing in our water, in our infrastructure, to ensure that we have more water for all of us, that we have water for our farms. You know, those fallowed fields, it's not just a problem for farmers, it's a problem for the world. We grow food for the world. People don't go hungry because of the work that you all do. Our crops go all over the world to feed people with nutritious food. And if we don't make the investments, if we don't change what's going on in this capital, people are going to go hungry. It's a problem for our communities because when we're not farming, people aren't working. They don't have the jobs that they need to provide for their families. There's not money being spent at the restaurants, buying tractors, buying services and supplies. It dries up our communities. They're struggling right now because of the policies coming out of this building. Now let's talk about this for a little bit on the water. We need to build more water storage in this state. We have not built another dam for over 50 years now. Meanwhile, our population has doubled in size. But they've opposed every dam. The environmental radicals and the Democrats, yes, the Democrats who control this state, have stopped these projects from moving forward. We need to change that. We need to invest in water storage, capture the water. There's millions of acre feet that flow out into the ocean every year. We don't capture it, we don't use it for our farms. That's one reason why we don't have water right now. We manage our water terribly. There was releases coming out of Shasta Dam and Oroville Dam when we could have been storing that water, releasing it for radical environmental policy in this state. Meanwhile, we starve. Our communities dry up. Our fields are fallowed. It's wrong. And they need to hear the voice of the farm community. And I know you're all here today. They need to hear it loud and clear. We need to change the policies that come out of this state to make sure that we can provide for our families, for our communities, and for the world. I will continue to fight for that every day. And I know we say don't get political, but it's political. It's political what comes out of here. And it affects you because of the leaders that have been elected here. We need to change them out. We need people who are really going to get in here and do the work. Build the water storage, build the canals, make sure that it gets to our people. Support our farmers right now. You know, the price of walnuts and almonds is at an all-time low. We can't pay the bills. We cannot pay the bills, and the bills keep getting higher because of the policies that come out of here. They increase your cost of electricity. Your utility bills, that just keeps going up. Fertilizer costs, all of our supply costs, everything is going up. And now walnuts are what, 40 cents a pound? Because the policies out of Washington, D.C., we need to fight back. Fight against these tariffs that are stopping us from getting our crops into places like India, into China. So many different places. This is about trade too. And that's in Washington, D.C., another Capitol building that we need to make sure that we get the policies so that we can feed the world. We can get our crops, which are the best quality grown in the world in this great valley. The most nutritious food, the safest food in the world is grown here. It needs to go all over the world, but they're putting barriers in our way, and our price is going down. You can't keep making us uncompetitive by raising our costs, by putting more regulations on us. Meanwhile, nothing happens in China and these other places. In Chile, we're becoming totally uncompetitive. We need to change that. That's another thing. We need support for our farmers because of the policies that have come out. We need support for our prices. Because if we can't pay the bills, if we can't keep farming, it's all going to dry up. And that will be a problem, not just for us, not just for California. It will be a problem for the world. So let's gather together. Let's elect people who will do the work, who will change the policies coming out of this state. And thank you for being here.
No, thanks, James. I mean, we need the right leaders to make the right policies. So James running my old town, Yuba City, and like to thank also Gurnam Singh Pama for bringing him. So we need the correct leaders. So next we have from District 13, Madeira, John Dorade. John is a candidate. He's gonna be speaking on a water issue that he sees, and also is a farmer.
That was awesome. James, Republican Assembly Leader James Gallagher, and in case you get confused today, that is what a leader sounds like. He's not up here mumbling in the microphone about policy, business this, or work with that. It's let's get something done now. Water is the most basic resource for humans, and if you're not getting water done now, as a leader, you're not pro-human. You're anti-human. It comes down to that, it's that simple. And we've been patient too long, we've been calm too long, and we've been talking and listening and trying to cross the aisle and paying attention to a bunch of policy gobbledygook because we're too damn foolish as a state to get water on the farms, to get water to humans, to get water, clean, safe drinking water to our people. So, let's go back a little bit. A very wise creator put the largest watershed in the world right behind us here, the Sierra Nevada mountains, tallest, longest, biggest watershed in the world with many amazing sites for reservoirs and storage of water. Offshore to our west, the same creator put the largest precipitation bank in the world out there at the Pacific Ocean. And below it all, right here in Sacramento, from Redding down to Bakersfield, this same creator put the largest, most fertile valley in the world. And look who came to farm it and feed the world. My family were Portuguese. They came here. Another part of my family was Swiss. They came here. Both of my grandfathers, dairymen and then orchardists. Today, we have the Sikh community coming to find the same bounty, to make the same investments, to build their lives here like so many generations and cultures have before, to contribute to the Central Valley economy and build the world. It's the same story from a different place. I used to go to the Portuguese Hall. The other night I was at the Sikh temple in Ceres. It is so familiar. Different language, different people, same story. This is the land of opportunity, and it is the land of abundance. And here in America, if we don't stand up now and fight for water, fight for our communities, effectively, we are closing the door behind us to whoever's next. Today it's Hmongs, Sikhs. Tomorrow, there'll be new groups from all over the world coming to America to enjoy the bounty and the opportunity. And look what so many of you done with that opportunity. I mean, my family, we used to laugh about the greenhorn dairyman, Portuguese dairyman that came over and, you know, had a dairy within about 5-10 years, and then all of a sudden he's buying land and putting in almonds and doing everything Portuguese do. Now look at the Sikh folks. You come over here, you work together, you have an extraordinary community, and you expect the same abundance. You've made the same investment. You've brought your families over. You've built up your families, your community. And then someone turned the water off. Made your farms worthless. Kept you from pursuing your dreams. Will stop generations in the future pursuing their dreams. We've washed 70 to 90 million acre feet of drinkable fresh water out through the San Joaquin Delta every year. We need 5 or 10 more million acre feet of water a year to really address human needs in this state. The federal government in the 1930s looked at California as a land of potential abundance and opportunity, economic growth, and national food security, and national energy security. And the federal government looked at our California water rights system and said, you know what? Let's do the California Water Project. Let's do the Central Valley Water Project. Let's build this infrastructure in California because they've got secure water rights. They have enterprising people. It's an area we need to build up. It's an area with the potential to feed the world. It's an area that came in with Thompson seedless grapes and cotton plantations during World War II to help us defend freedom across the world. And we built the infrastructure. We had national support, federal support to build this infrastructure. And then our local politicians, our state politicians, decided we don't need this infrastructure to provide safe drinking water for all of our communities. We don't need this infrastructure to provide a food security for our country, economic opportunity for all who come here. Let's use this infrastructure to try and save Delta Smelt. They're dead. Let's use this infrastructure to just flush water out to the ocean to recover the salmon populations. They're not recovered. But we use the same practices 30, 40 years going now. We've depleted our groundwater. We've flushed our surface water out to the ocean. We're talking seriously about removing 1 million acres of farmland. We've got cities up and down the state that can't irrigate their lawns, their soccer fields, their parks. We're rationing. We're talking about 50 gallons per day of water for each person in a household. We're talking about army showers in the cities, in this land of abundance. We're seeing families, our working families here throughout the state, throughout the country, barely able to make ends meet because we're not creating the energy and not growing the food we need to provide the abundance that brings affordability for all working families in California. So this fight is real. I'm running for Congress right now. Back in Congress, I hope to be on the Resources Committee, and I hope to drag in these bureaucrats, both state and federal, and let them explain to us why their failed environmental initiatives are worth more than human lives and livelihoods. Why we're trading food security for inane and failed attempts at saving already dead species. Why we have children down in the south part of the San Joaquin Valley in Coalinga seeing record high respiratory illnesses. We've got spikes in valley fever, we've got spikes in asthma, we've got kids going to the Madera Children's Hospital from South Valley cities because we're trying to save a dead smelt. This is ridiculous. It's time for leadership. It's time for loud, determined leadership. It's time to bring the bureaucrats in, to call out the anti-human environmental extremists for what they are, and to defend the working families, defend the farms, and defend irrigated landscapes all through California. We are the breadbasket, the fruit bowl, the salad bowl of the world, and we're going to fight to remain so. So thank you so very much for having this rally today. We need new partners in abundance. You're it. Let's make sure America stays the land of opportunity, and let's make sure California stays the land of abundance. Thank you so much. John Duarte for Congress. Let's send a farmer to Congress.
Let's go, Duarte!
Thanks, John. Many good speakers, but as you could see, they're speaking from the heart. They're truly representing the farm communities. So next, we have Amanon Shore. Please come up, and he is from District 14, Fresno area, running for Senate. So,
for State Senate from District 14, which is Fresno, Madera, and Merced. I'm an immigrant, like most of us here. I came from the land of Israel, and you know, many of you, how wonderful the innovative technologies that come from the land of Israel, because many of you use that. The irrigation, the drip irrigation system. And what I have learned in my 36 years that I live in the Valley, I'm in the United States for 42 years, and we bought a farm here 36 years ago. And unfortunately, I had to sell that because it's in the Madera area because of lack of surface water. Already back then in the 80s, I could not get the surface water. And then I started to think, what is going on? And I spoke to some friends of mine that ran and they were in charge of all the water authority in Israel. And one of them, which he was the top manager in the system, and he says, listen, in California, you do not have a water problem because there's plenty of water. You have management problem. And that's the problem that we're facing today. Many of good speakers spoke about it this morning. But let me tell you something, and I will make it short. The idea of making the same thing over and over, Einstein, you know, the genius, he said, if you do the same thing and expect different result, is a sign of insanity. And this is what we're facing right now. Insanity, that they want to take our farms away from us and leave no future for our children and grandchildren and generations to come. You know what it is? It is a way to socialism and eventually communism. Communism takes the land from you and tell you, you 10 families will get 20% and you produce the water, the food, and we will take 80% of it. Let me tell you, my friends, this is wrong. And we going to stand against it. We need a change. And if we do not take the reins and make a change, coming in 2 weeks, we cannot blame anybody but ourselves. So you see, we need to stand in the face of these people that making all the regulations. It's all about regulations. It's what feed their desires to stay in office. We are in the Central Valley. We are the heart of California. And water is like the blood that feeds the heart. And if you take the water out or the blood out of the heart, what happens? The body dies. And if the body dies, what happens? No water, no food, no future. And then what we're going to have? Riots, hunger, and people going bankrupt. My dear friends, I'm not going to take too long. Just remember that we need to stand united. We need to unite all the farmers. I would like to see thousands of farmers right here, Mark and Ralph and Mickey, all of us need to get together and make a difference and look to make a big change. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Yeah, thanks, Amnon. You know, when we started this thing about 10 days ago, made the call to have a protest here, we didn't know what the result is going to be. But today, we really want to thank everyone and all the different organizations that are supporting us. And this is basically the beginning of getting all the different organizations that worked on last 20 years, the water experts, to bring them together, net them together, so we could basically make the right decisions. So as we talked about Kalinga, we have ex-mayor Nathan Bosberg. He is going to talk about the real issue the community is having. Kalinga ran out of water. They don't have water. They're going to spend 100 times the money to get the water for the community. And how long it can last, it all depends. So Nathan, please come on up and let us know about Kalinga.
All right, first, I just want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the Sikh community for putting this on.
I seen this on a Facebook post from William Bordeaux from Harris Ranch. I want to thank Harris for all they do in the fight for water. You know, I've heard Kalinga mentioned at least 3 or 4 times here, and I believe everyone that's mentioned them has fought for water and tried to get us that water in Kalinga. So, my name is Nathan Vosberg. I'm the former mayor of the city of Kalinga, where I've lived since I was 15 years old. Back in 2014, I was elected to the city council, and I was pretty much thrown into a drought. The state had sent letters and told our city they wanted us to conserve. They told us directly they wanted to make our town brown. That's what they said. They wanted us to kill all the grass. Council wasn't having that at the time, so we requested a meeting with the State Water Resources Board, and we were lucky enough to get Betsy Litchie to come to town. She said that we needed to go brown. I complained, and I said, if we do that, the trees are going to die, and they're going to fall, and it's going to hurt people. Our Mayor Pro Tem back then, which was Patrick Keogh, he had been talking to Mario Santoya, and Mario had told him, you know, I think 65% of the water is going to the ocean for fish. And so he asked Betsy, is that true? She said, no, that's not true. She said it's more like 75%. 75% of our fresh water going to the ocean to create a saltwater barrier. That's what she explained. And she basically told us that because of the fish, that they wanted us to go without water. So they basically are putting fish before people. I remember clearly at that meeting telling the lady that we had a state hospital and a prison, that are state-funded agencies that are using about 30% of our water. We were asked to conserve 30% back then. We had a 10,000 square acre feet allotment from the USBR. And so we did conserve that. But what happened was in 2015, we seen trees, as I predicted, falling. They fell on people's cars. We're talking full-grown trees here, uprooted. We had windstorms that came across. They uprooted full-grown trees, boom, dead. You know, and fell on cars, fell on houses. You know, people had to find shelter. At one year, I think I counted like 11 that were having a problem. Another thing that we've seen, and that we're continuing to see, is valley fever cases. I think someone's had mentioned that today, but it's going to be an epidemic level. So they're telling us right now that we can't water at all on our front grass, and they're saying it's a public safety thing. And I think someone explained earlier there's like 50 gallons a person. So from our 10,000 square acre foot allotment, they've taken us down to around 2,200. Well, that's barely enough to survive. And so right now, the city is in a crisis mode. We don't have water. We're set to run out sometime in November. And that doesn't mean the tap shuts off. That just means that water gets really expensive. So instead of paying $100 to $300 per square acre foot, we're looking at paying $1,800 to $2,500 per square foot. So that's really going to impact our residents. It's really going to hurt bad. We're already in a community that is 70 miles away from the nearest locale in Fresno, and so we already have issues trying to get services into there sometimes. This issue has affected the health of our community. We have people that are getting valley fever on massive levels. The state knows this. See, the state, we have the prison I was talking about, the state has said, you know, if you're susceptible to valley fever, then you don't have to go to Kalinga's prison. So the state is completely aware of this. And we have a very intelligent superintendent who brought forth the idea that, hey, because she had valley fever, she lost part of a lung, that it actually is a public safety issue not to have water on the ground. Because what happens is the valley fever is a spore that comes out of the ground. And so if we just allow the dust to go everywhere, then we have massive amounts of people. Anytime that dirt is moved around, or anytime we have construction, which we want to grow, by the way, in Kalinga, that's our goal, is to grow like everyone else. But because we don't have water, we can't cover our turf now. So you have people that have spent $3,000 to $6,000, you know, that on their lawns trying to keep them up, that now are being told, hey, you have to go and have no lawn at all. Those people are angry. They're mad at the city. And of course, our city leaders are mad at the state and are mad at the feds, you know, because they prioritize a fish. And let me tell you, the drought that's hit the farmers has hit me directly. My family owned Vosburg Electric, which did farm equipment, 12-volt repair. And when the drought hit, our business suffered. In fact, the business went out of business. And I had a computer business, so it was in the same building. When they had to sell that, my business went downhill too. So the drought that the farmers are enduring right now, that we have been enduring for quite some time, I think 10, 15 years, it just keeps getting worse, is really affecting the livelihoods of the people in our city. And so I appreciate everyone here gathering today and all the elected officials and everyone deciding, hey, that we need to put, you know, water over politics. You know, I've heard people get up and say that, you know, the things that are happening right here in this building, that's the reason why. And I believe that I agree with that. That is the reason why. But instead of fighting back and forth with parties, we need to understand that this is a human issue. And we it shouldn't be a Democrat or Republican issue. They should all bind together and say to themselves, we don't want cities like Kalinga to have valley fever for the people, parvo for the animals. We want them to be safe and secure. We want them to have drinking water. We want communities like Avenel, you know, the smaller communities around in the west side. Those are the ones that are really susceptible. And, you know, it just makes us feel like the Central Valley is being punished. It really does. It makes us feel like that we're being punished when we see San Francisco being allowed to have water. We don't, you know, and it baffles us. And we go to our leaders and we say, you know, hey, you know, we want to build a dam to stop that water from, if you're saying we got to stop the salt water from coming in, let's build some dams. And we have the money to do it. It's just policy, unfortunately, that stopped this. You know, that we've always had drought years in California. You know, what's happened? Our population's doubled, and our policy has not caught up to the population. And so we need to elect good leaders that will move forward on the water issue. I've heard, you know, 3 or 4 of them today. The people that came here, by the way, those are the people that we should be supporting. Those people care. A lot of them got up 3 or 4 in the morning to drive here from places, and you know, we need to support those people that will support us. And so, my name's Nathan Vosburg. I'm running for Kalinga City Council, and I always tell people, help us, help you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nathan. At this point, we want to acknowledge a lot of organizations that are with us that's done quite a bit of work. These organizations are California Women for Agriculture, California Apple Commission, Western Growers, Olive Growers Council of California, Western Agriculture Processor Association, African American Farmers, California Blueberry Commission, California Association Wine Grape Growers, Nisai Farm League, California Cotton Grower Association, California Fresh Fruit Association, California Agriculture Council of California, Western Plant Health. There are many, many organizations that we are buying together. So we're all in it together. We want to thank these organizations to come and supporting us. And I think next we're gonna have Rodrigo Espina. He is running in District 1. So Rodrigo, please come up.
Buenos dias, everybody. Good morning. Sasrikal. My name is Rodrigo Espinosa. I'm Merced County Supervisor of District 1. I've been for 6 years. I've been a county supervisor in Merced County. I got 2 more. And but this is my 20th year in politics. I was a council member and mayor of the city of Livingston for 14 years, and now been a county supervisor for 6 years, 20 years. But I'm in a unique situation, which I am. You know, I've been in the city, on the city side, but I'm also a peach and almond farmer. All my life, I've been a farmer. It's a unique situation that puts me like to understand what cities grow to, growth, but we need the water. And as a farmer, all my family, my father, my brothers are all farm. We run over 300 acres of peaches and almonds. And I'm glad to say, like I said, we work with everybody. This is the Central Valley. California is very diverse. And I love working with the whole communities. We have 2 good water churches in Livingston. We have a lot of the Sikh communities. So I'm blessed with the Sikh community support, with the Hispanic, Mexican, American community support. We have Filipinos and Japanese Americans, and we're also the sweet potato capital of California. So, but we're here all in support of trying to get this state legislator and the governor to support us on water storage, which is, it's been lacking for a lot of years. We've been asking and asking for more water storage, but it doesn't seem to resonate with our elected officials at the state legislature. So we need to push, we need to elect people that will support all of us. Like I said, up and down the valley, they've asked me to run for assembly. I didn't want to because, like I said, 20 years. I think maybe I got 2 more years. I don't know if I'll run again. But if I have to, I will run one day. I go because enough is enough. We don't have that storage. Our communities don't have the water anymore. We're not keeping with the growth. The state is pushing us for more housing, more apartments up and down the valley, but we don't have no more water, right? We need the quality water up and down the valley. Southern California is growing at a fast pace, and they're taking our water. Up and down. I'm a part of a water education for Latino leaders, and we always when we meet with other elected officials up and down the valley in Southern California, mostly, I say, hey, we got to work together. First I say, well, hey, don't steal our water, but of course we got to work together so that they understand as school boards, as city council members, as mayors of Southern California cities and the Bay Area cities, that we got to work together to divide the water. Like say, right now, the State Water Control Board is usually trying to divert our water from Merced County, Stanislaus County, and down the valley. We got to express to Gavin Newsom that, hey, you know what? Stop diverting our water. We don't have enough water as it is. I get calls every day from farmers, from civilians, that their wells are running dry. They don't have the funds. And like I said, we need the water. And of course, with groundwater sustainability agencies, it's going to be hard for us to keep pumping. So that's why we need the water storage. And all of us, getting together and stating to each our individual state representatives up and down the valley that we need that pressure. We put that pressure so they can help us. But it needs to end soon. That pressure needs to be done on the governor and the state legislature. Make sure that we get that water storage up and down the valley. So please, Governor Newsom, let's push for water storage up and down the valley and California so we can all have a decent life and quality of water. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I'd like to call Michael Maher. He's running our Congress District 21. Please come to the podium. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we're gathered out here today because of water. We're gathered here because California provides 1/7 of the world's ag. Of farmers who have sacrificed, who came here with $20 in their pocket 50 years ago, and with that, they built a farming community. They brought their families over. That dream of coming to America, farming the dirt, producing produce, and growing is dying right now in the state. Farming for generations here in California, over 20 years on Western Growers Board. As a business owner. My background, I grew up here in California, graduated here in the Central Valley. Well, not here, but where I was earlier this morning. all across the country. And what we see going on right now is a absolute catastrophe in this state. The complete mismanagement of our resources. There are simple solutions to all of the issues that we're here today protesting. There are solutions for water. When we can see in Europe, we see in the Middle East, we see desalination going and turning deserts into fertile farmland. And we don't do that here in California. We have an energy crisis here in California. I'm running in the 21st district for Congress, not because I want a title, and not because I want to become a politician. I'm running as a business owner, as a husband and a father who is seeing our elected leaders fail and fail and fail and fail for not just the last 5 years, for decades. This issue with water is at the point that if we do not address it and address it immediately, we're going to kill farming. At a time in our nation when we have food insecurities going across the globe, I want to celebrate one thing that we look at. We're losing a marketing and branding war on water. We're getting too deep in the weeds of what we're doing. Everyone wants to speak about how many acre feet of water we need here and there. I tell people, farming does not use water. That might sound like a radical idea to say that farming does not use water. You never ask Fiji Water Company or Arrowhead Water or Best Value, whatever brand you buy, how much water they use when you go buy a bottle of water in the grocery store. But why do we say our farmers are using so much water? Our farmers take water and they repurpose it into citrus, into stone fruit, into vegetables, into nuts. That's because our farmers are producing a real commodity that we need to live. They repurpose that water into a product. The people that are using the water are the people in the grocery stores buying the produce. And that's how we need to address and talk about water. Rebrand the entire conversation on water so it is every person's problem, not just the farmer's issue. This is a problem for our nation, for our state, and frankly for the world. I asked people in the state legislature, I said, where in the entire country, albeit the world, do we have the highest food safety standards? It's here in California. Where do we pay the highest labor costs? Here in California. Where do we have the best occupational safety standards? Here in California. The best food safety standards? Here in California. Where are our farmers using water in the most conservative way, the most sustainable way? Here in California. So our produce that we produce here in California ag is Louis Vuitton versus the rest of the world. We in California compete not just nationally, but internationally. You talk about NAFTA and being able to produce outside the United States at labor costs that are abysmal. We want to talk about true sustainability and truly taking care of our environment. Who was the first people that took care of our environment? Who were the original sustainability people? It was our farmers and ranchers who came across to California, and if they were not sustainable and they did not take care of their dirt, they did not survive to the next year. That is the reality. We need to be celebrating our farmers. We need to be celebrating our farm workers, celebrating that we're paying good, honest wages. And we do not need to leave 1 acre of dirt in the entire state fallow, because we have the technology and we have the ability to bring water. We have the ability to not take our water out of the valley and send it down to LA. That doesn't mean LA doesn't need water. That means there's solutions, and simple solutions, to provide water for LA and the people in LA. There are simple solutions to provide water for the Bay Area. There are simple solutions to deal with the effluent, the waste that is coming out of our water treatment plants. I don't care if it's dilution or not, we shouldn't be polluting our environment. So our government, if we have surpluses, we need to start investing in our infrastructure. I tell people, I am living in a first world nation and I am running on third world issues. We do not have basic infrastructure that needs to be in place. 50 years since we've seen true improvements in our water infrastructure. Our public safety is under attack. Hate crimes in our own community. I don't need to let anyone know in the Sikh community how your own community is personally getting under attack through hate crimes. The Singh family, who I want to remember. There is tragedies going on, and we cannot be divided based on an ethnic group, a religion, on anything. Our black farmers, our Hispanic farmers, our Indian farmers, everyone here, we have Japanese, we have the most diverse valley anywhere in the world. That's why people bring stuff to California as a test market, because of how amazing our state is and our valley is. We need to stand here, not in defeat, not saying that we have to protest for water. We are already victorious. We already are leading the entire world in farming. We don't need to say, give it to us. We need to demand it in victory. This is how we take back our state. This is how we take back farming. We cannot allow this to go outside the United States. It is too important. And when people, I'll leave you with this. We can farm in South America or other places. Our ports, what's going on our ports right now? We're having issues getting products in and out of our ports. If that's the same ports that we're gonna have to depend on for food, if we're having to farm outside, we're going to have true food insecurity issues here in the valley. And that's when communities rise up. We have the technology, we have simple off-the-shelf solutions, and when I get to Congress, we are going to deliver on them. So again, I say, with a background in nuclear power production in the Navy, as a former FBI special agent doing national security work and law enforcement activities, as a business owner of one of the largest luxury aviation companies globally, I've operated in businesses in Singapore, Shanghai, Beijing, London, New York, Los Angeles. And I'm taking all of that aside to step up to run for office to solve these problems. And I encourage anyone else that's listening, if you're a business owner, start taking back your local government. Start running for office. We need people with real experience in the real world to go out and solve with pragmatic solutions. So again, my name's Michael Marr. Thank you for coming together. This is an important issue, and you have an advocate and a partner who's going to stand and fight for this, for you and for our state and for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I always call Michael Meher. Meher means he already know. Guru Maharaj di Kirpa as a Mahar. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, please everybody listen, this few cars, there's our car parked there. The CHP say move your car, but leave the tractor there. Say tractor is okay. Whoever belong to these cars, please move it. And also cars behind the buses, the one, the white bus and school bus. And now I want to call.
Sorry, I want to say it again. The cops are outside. I told them not to put the ticket in, but we have to move all these cars in the next 5-10 minutes. Otherwise, they'll be back and start putting the citations.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Now I want to call Sade Vade Veer Bhai Sahab Gurnam Singh ji, please come down. And before they come, I want to say a few words. Like when we go for fight, you got to keep your rifle with you. Even if If a fight will stop for you, you don't leave your tool there. All these signs, we want to back. Yeah, give to me or give to the other people here. And please get ready. And we're gonna, right now there's nobody in this house. We are here coming to make a noise and knock the door. And they know, they already know, the news media already tell them you're already there. But we coming back when the session's gonna start. Session's gonna start in February. We be here again first week of March with the tractor in a big rally. And I want to tell you, every single person, please, I like to speak, but everybody cover everything. I think I don't need to nothing to talk. But when you go home, when you go back to your city and county, everyone, we're gonna make a team on each county. You make a 5% in each county, get together, connect with us, or Pak, or myself, like I say, Juba City, Tulare County, all the counties. The Punjabi farmers are everywhere. If a 58 county time 5%, that's I approximately just go for 250 people. 250 people, who's going to be? We are the one who can be organizer. Today, we don't, it's too bad we don't have even 250 people today. We want a 250 people at the organizer next time. 200 people are be organizer, bring like 20,000 people supposed to be here. If you want to do something, if you want to push something, if it's not going to work like that the way we do it now, but it's great. I don't want to discourage you. I don't want to discourage myself either, because whatever we doing, because of you guys. You guys did a good job. I want to thank you again, and keep it up. It's langar's on the way. The lunch is coming. If we take a lunch break, nobody have an excuse. We go for lunch. Ralph, lunch is on the way. You're not going nowhere. Especially the Madeira people from the Madeira farmer. We can all go back together, and we're gonna clean everything. This gonna keep going. We have a more speaker to speak, and just want to give you the information. Thank you, Paji, please.
Thank you for being everybody here today, and really appreciate your kind time. Don't think Valley, because there are so many people behind you and helping you in the farm. So next time, like Mr. Basra said, we will organize a little more better than this, and we have to show the strength. Let me tell you a couple of examples. You know, we did not do our responsibility. Reason behind it, that, you know, we did not elect the right people to do the right job. Right now, election is on your doorstep. Right now, decide to elect the right people who they can represent for the farmers in this building and in Washington, D.C. So we can, our voice can be heard. I've been here in this country for 52 years, and I farm from Bakersfield up to Washington, Canada border. I have seen many different difficulties, different time, but this is the most disaster time for the farmers. If the politician did not do anything about this, we are going to be nowhere. And I think our forefathers, they came from Pakistan, then they tried to develop in Punjab, then they gone to UP. The time is not very far. If these environmentalists and union don't change their attitude, this California we probably have to leave. So there are so many taxes and so many legal laws against the farming, and no mercy for the farmer. Farmer work from day rise and up to day down, and nobody willing to farm. I give you one example. 1978, I go to Canada and meet with my relatives, and one of the older relative lady, she asked me, son, what you guys are doing in California? I said, we are farming. And she said, you know, you've been farming in India too, you could not find any job? I said, auntie, farming is the best job. Farmer is feeding all the humanity, all the world, and everybody all over the world. So the responsibility these elected officials did not do, they have they have left their criminal out of the jails, and they burn up all the jungles. I remember 10 years ago, this area used to have 30 inches of rain, 36 inches of rain, and we had a flood problem all the time, not the drought problem. So right now, the jungles are burned, and that's why we are under drought. And they're the criminals killing people. Nobody takes care of it. So we need to realize and do the right job and choose the right people so we can get the justice. And the other thing is, that today you guys are here, this is the first seed you plant. And when you plant the seed always grow. And I request Mr. Basra that we have to hire a lobbyist and do the lobby here. And we have to hire the lobbyist in Washington, D.C. to do the lobby in Congress and the Senate. Otherwise, we are not going to be nowhere. We need to do the bigger protest next time before the session start. I remember one day, about 5-6 years ago, it happened with us. The walnut price went down on that time, and we went to Fresno. There was a reception, and a bunch of our friends, they were sitting on the table, and they said, Baji, we heard that the walnut prices go down to hell, and what we can do. And on that time I laughed. I said, you guys come and we take the permit, we will do the protest in Capitol Hill. And I think, that bad thing arrived here, and we had to do this, and shame on these politicians. They did not do the right job. So we have to leave our work and come here and wasting our time and wasting their time. And I think they have to realize that, and we have to do the right thing. See, the other thing is, that water is very important for the farming. Water is very important. Our Guru told us, Babna Guru Pani Pita. Water is the father of everybody. But, we have water in this valley, Sacramento Valley. We grow the crop, and we don't have the price. So we have to add on, along with the water, we need the amnesty. We need the sporting price for our product. And we need to raise our boys. We can grow the crop. Nobody can afford to grow almonds for $1.25. Nobody can grow walnuts for 40 cents. The price of the things you are buying, tractors, parts, diesel, everything, the labor, is about 80% higher than 2 years ago, 3 years ago. This goddamn situation happened all over the world, this COVID. It changed the whole system of the world. And all these things went sky high and killing everybody to buy, whatever we need for the farm work. So I really request you that you guys have took time, and this time is not wasted. This time is fruitful, and we have to take a responsibility, educate our neighbors, educate our relatives, educate our friends, so we can vote for the right people. Then we come back, make a plan, and let the lobbyists work. Then we will have it. If they don't listen to us, then we will have a bigger parade. So thank you for all of you to be here today. Really appreciate it. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Anji, thank you, Gurnaam Singh Pama Uncle Ji. That was good. So next thing we wanted to let everyone know is this program is broadcasted live on Punjabi Radio USA, so people staying back at home, they can watch the program. So next we have is Nanette Smoyan. She has done wonderful work to support our cause. So Annette's been in farming for a long time and feels the same pain a lot of the farmers are feeling today. So Annette.
Thank you, Jasper. Just let me get this tied. Well, yeah, I'm trying to. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here today. This is a wonderful turnout. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Nanette Simonian, and I am the 4th generation in an agricultural industry. My family on my mother's side, part Portuguese, and had a dairy farm. And on my father's side, part Armenian, had truck farming of vegetables. So that makes a nice mixture of me. We as a family farm ended up growing organic prunes there towards the end. I majored in plant science. I am a PCA, a pest control advisor, working in the field of agriculture. I am also a member of California Women for Agriculture, and I am the Central Valley chapter president. So I'm here to help represent them, along with also being a member of CAPCA. It's been said, every drop of water that runs to the seas without yielding its full commercial returns to the nation is an economic waste. President Herbert Hoover said these words over 90 years ago. They still ring true today. As a country, as a nation, as a state of California, we're not doing our best at water stewardship, not even close. Annually, we continue to flush millions of acre-feet of water to the ocean without utilizing its commercial returns of it. Water is the lifeblood of this once great state, California. Many, many years ago, we allowed people, quote, the government, to tell us how to collect, how to store, how to release it, not to the farmers or the cities, communities, small communities, but the ocean. They use water as a bargaining tool. Instead of fulfilling the needs, fulfilling the need to the people. Small cities and communities, as we heard Kalinga, are literally dying. Aravanel is another one, because of poor water management. Or if they get water, the quality is so poor, they really can't use it. Farmland is dying right now in my lifetime. I never thought we as a country would see another Dust Bowl again. And here in California, here it is. We've been in the same situation for the past 10 years plus, and it's getting worse. There's been a lot of talk about infrastructure being built, and that's going to take years. Well, why not use the infrastructure that is already in place and not being used, such as the Big Dry Creek Reservoir in Fresno County? It holds more than 30,000 acre-feet of water. Can hold that much for 90 days, and then it's got to be released out to the farming ponds and canals. Why aren't we using it? I don't know. Yes, water is a complicated subject. There are easy, short-term fixes that to strive to keep our cities and farmlands surviving. And that's just one example. There's so many more out there, and we look back on our history and see what infrastructure's already been built, are not in use for one reason or another. These are the items that we need to take advantage of and get working again. California will be the 4th largest economy in the world that does not support sustainable food production, which is a result to making the cost of food unaffordable to the large percentage of California population. These are all words I think that you've heard today, just maybe in a different fashion. Agriculture has been working with very sophisticated technology since the 70s. I've personally been involved with some of these different tools. As it says, we farm with 5% of the water. We measure every drop of water going in the field and the placement of that drop. We measure the exact amount of runoff of our crops. We analyze the leaf of different plants to see how depleted of water they are. We measure them by air thermal temperatures by satellite photographer to help us find the plant or trees with broken sprinklers or emitters. We as agriculturalists are constantly looking for scientific ways to farm with less water. When's enough enough? Inflation has hit the farm and farmers most of all. We are the ones that have to take up the plow to produce the food for the state, California, the nation, and the world. Without a doubt, California produces more food per acre than any other place in the world. We've dealt firsthand with farming and diminishing water supplies, rising cost of supplies for our farms, economic labor, or what we should say, lack of labor, and I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to continue. So our government is allowing foreign countries such as China to come in and use shell companies to purchase our farmland from under us. This bill was sponsored to prevent this by Senator Melissa Hurtado, and it was vetoed by our governor to put a stop to these types of action. We need to stop foreign purchases on farmland. California agriculture land should be owned by U.S. citizens, and this holds true to how the water is controlled. I pray to work together with both Democrats, Republicans, to work together with all types of races, spiritualities, and I commit to work with all people to come up with a resolution on these water issues that plague this great state of California for far too long. Do not add more lawyers with valueless regulations that mirror the farmer with useless bureaucracy. As it was said by President John F. Kennedy, the farmer is the only man in our economy who buys everything retail, sells everything wholesale, and pays the freight both ways. Thank you.
Nathan, thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate you talking about all the how we can keep the water. Now I bring the speaker. This gentleman, Hig Trazian. Yes, then this is a live history you can listen from this our old fellow. He's uncle of Ralph Petrosi's. And when you read the books, you read in the books. Now you don't need, no need to read the books. Hear the live books, and it tells you the story. Thank you.
My name's Hig Trazian, and I'd like to speak to you about how our water system was. I look back in the times when they built Bryant Dam, they built the reservoirs above Bryant Dam, and how fast they built it. They started Bryant Dam 1937. They finished it in 1942. They built 6 reservoirs above it to bring water down. And that was back then. Pine Flat, they started 1947, finished in 1954. And when they brought water, there's 2 reservoirs above that. But what I really want to talk about is during World War II, if we didn't have agriculture, that's what saved the world. That's what we fed Russia, we fed England, and fed ourselves. We had victory gardens. When we were in school, we didn't go to school until the harvests were done. And we had figs, we had dairy, we had apricots, we had that. That all went for the war effort. And it was California that did it. We even had military soldiers, that was the Hammers Field in Fresno, come out and harvest our crops. That's how important agriculture is in California. This is what I want to tell you. This is one of the most, this is the security of this country is California. That's what saved the world. And this is what happens when we were going through school, they would show us everything, how they built the dams. We were being educated on everything through grade school. When I was going through grade school, they were educating us about the water, what it was going to do for us, and everything else. And the thing was how fast they built these things. They didn't have the modern equipment they have today. They built the Frank Kern Canal that went to Bakersfield. That was a desert. They built that all up, and I seen it bloom. And the people before us, we always thought about the generation above us. That's how we were. That's how everything was. And then later on too, when you had the Grapes of Wrath, I don't know if anybody heard when Oklahoma, that was when the Dust Bowl, when the Dust Bowl was. When the people came from Oklahoma, they came into the valley into the valleys of California. They couldn't believe how many different crops we could have grown here. When them people were there, my father we had a property. When they came, they were so poor. They came in their Model Ts and Model As, and they were so poor that we had tents all over our ranches. My father was going around helping go to work in different places over there. And these people turned around. They became the cotton farmers in California because they grew cotton in Oklahoma and stuff. We didn't know much about it, but they're the ones that started a lot of stuff here. But these are the people I went to school with. And a lot of them people who went to school with, they were a lot older than me because they missed a lot of school. But what I'm trying to say is the whole idea is we don't get things done no more. What I see, I'm 87 years old, and we the people is the one that have to take. We're going to have when you people are going to go out and try to get things done, there's going to be objects in front of you. You go around them, you go over them, or you go through them. That's the only way you're going to accomplish anything. Don't let nothing stop you. And this is my point. And in my generation, they didn't let nothing stop them. But if we didn't have World War II, during World War II, that's what California saved the world. We fed Russia because they were our allies. We fed England, and we had victory gardens. I don't know if anybody knew what victory gardens were. When I was in grade school, in the country grade school, we had gardens out there so we could survive. Our ranches, every farmer had what they call victory garden, and we are all for the war effort. But it was California that saved it. The water they brought, how fast they brought it, and the politicians would come to you, ask what we could do for you. Today, it's the opposite. The politicians aren't doing, but at the time when we were, the politicians, what can we do for you? What can we make things better? What can we do? But this is my point. Please, that's what I would do. When Thanksgiving comes, and then when you look at that plate and you're praying to your Lord or whatever, all that food, it took water to bring it. So when you say thank you, Lord, the Lord gave us water to give for the food. So, and in each religion, I know it's different, but you look at the food, you know what you're getting. Thank you, folks, and God bless everybody here.
Thank you, Mr. Crozian. Thank you very much. You share your experience from the World War II to the now. Like he's saying, that time the politician come to you to ask what we can do for you now. But now, the politician tell us what to do. You can turn your pump on or not. That's a switch on their hand right now. And I like to speak Punjabi and English both together this time. Everybody, most of the Kisan farmers and also there are our workers here. ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੰਜਰ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਜੱਟ ਪੱਟਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੱਟੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੁਣ the old timer farmer when they plow the land like a desert it does not work the first time when you take a tractor one second third time it does not still not work. It's the same thing what we're doing right now. This land is so dry and you need to come back one more time. ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹਲ ਵਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਸੁਹਾਗਾ ਫੇਰਦਾ ਚੰਗਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਉਹ ਡਲੀ ਭੰਨਣੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਜੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਠੂੰਗੇ ਲਾਉਣ ਆਏ ਆ spots just put it on the spots right now then we're going to come back with the bigger scraper that clean this out. That's what you needed to do that now. We're going to come back with the scraper and flatten up everything right. Now I want to call next thing, Ed Ring. Please, Ed Ring, come down right now. And we're going to come back again. Don't worry. We make a difference. Thank you very much. Ed Ring, thank you.
Just to give a little more introduction about Ed, he is the person that wrote the proposition one that did all the funding, the billions of dollars that got funded because of the storage. So with that, Ed Ring.
Thank you very much. I want to apologize. That was actually I didn't write Prop 1, although I wish I did. I wrote the proposition which we called More Water Now. It was a ballot proposition, a state ballot proposition that we attempted to put on this November's ballot. And what it would have done was allocate 2% of the state general fund to pay for water projects, water supply projects of all types, and it wouldn't sunset. That funding wouldn't stop until 5 million acre feet per year of water was being produced by new water infrastructure projects, reservoirs, everything from reservoirs to recycling and desalination, runoff capture. Nothing was off the table, and it didn't matter. They could pick any type of project they want, but it wouldn't stop. The funding wouldn't stop until we had another 5 million acre feet a year of water from new projects. And this kind of thing is necessary, as you know, not only because of the drought, not only because of the regulations that are restricting supply, but the consequences of that. The Colorado River water is, those allocations are dropping as well. And so what we wanted to do was, instead of talking about rationing, we wanted to talk about supply. And what happened to this proposition? Because everybody liked it, everybody who studied it realized it would solve the problem. But what happened was the environmentalist lobby killed it in the cradle. And the environmentalists in California are not only very powerful themselves, but they have very good friends in the press. The San Jose Mercury, the Los Angeles Times, the Sacramento Bee, the Fresno Bee, all of the newspapers, even the Orange County Register, which you would think they need water a lot down there. You know, you're not alone as farmers. The cities are starving for water as well. They all came out against this before it had a chance. Another thing that hurt us, of course, when we were raising money, because it's not easy to qualify a ballot initiative in California. You need to get 1.5 million signatures on a petition. And right when we were at the point where we were about to maybe get over the top in terms of our fundraising to get this on November's ballot, it rained. And it rained. You remember how much it rained in December? And we ran out of time. So we're going to try again. 2024 is coming faster than you think. If you want to put a state ballot initiative on the ballot in California in November of 2024, you have to be done with it and file it by August of next year, less than a year from now. So what we're doing is going to various farm communities and also to water agencies in the cities all over California. We're showing them exactly what we came up with in 2022, and we're going to refine it, and we're going to make sure that anything that we didn't get just right, we're going to fix, although it was pretty good. And we're going to try again. And I just want to finish by asking you to don't hold back from confronting the environmentalist lobby, because they are determined to kill agriculture in California. That's their solution. They don't believe it belongs in the San Joaquin Valley or the Sacramento Valley. They want to cut it to half the size it is. And just as Senator Hurtado said, they welcome institutional investors coming in, driving family farms out, buying up water rights and selling it back to you. So you don't just have an environmentalist lobby, they're useful. What you've got as well is newspaper reporters and institutional investors that benefit from this. So you have to be willing, I suppose in a diplomatic way, but you have to be firm. You can't compromise. You have to recognize that the environmentalist lobby is trying to destroy your industry. And they have to be confronted, and politicians have to be made to understand this so that they'll be willing to make changes. And one last thing, a ballot initiative doesn't require the consent of politicians. California's a state where you can put a ballot initiative on the ballot, and if the voters approve that, it's law, and it can't be changed unless there's another initiative. So this is another way to fundamentally fix and change policy in California, is with a state ballot initiative. You don't need the consent of the politicians to do this. So I hope you'll think about it, and you can find more information at morewaternow.com. And if you go to morewaternow.org, we're there too. We're going to try again, and I hope you'll help us out. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. So we're going to basically getting closer to a wrap up, about another 2-3 speakers, and then we'll be done pretty quick. So one of the things we want to say is, talking with a lot of people, a lot of different organizations who didn't even make it today, is we're going to make a call to have a next rally, next protest here, end of February, beginning March, when Congress is in session. So that will give it 2-3 months for new elected members to come in, and then we'll work with them individually, see what the progresses are made, and where we could get a lot bigger crowds in about end of February, March timeframe. So that's, we'll make that call, let everyone know. So now I want to basically introduce Mike Alamari. He does a lot of farm management. So about 2 to 3 minutes, Mike Alamari.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ahmed Mike Alamari. My family came here, my father came here 50 years ago. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. My name is Ahmed Mike Alamari. My father migrated here from Yemen approximately 50 years ago in search for a better life. We've called the Central Valley home now for over nearly 40 years, and I'm from Madera County, born and raised in Madera. I'm pretty sure if any person came up here and gave us their story, it would truly inspire us. That's just the way God made all of us, and we're all truly blessed. The reason we're here today is I'm gravely concerned, and I know everyone here is gravely concerned about our future. Being in the labor business and the supply business, even though we're not farmers, everything you guys do affect us one way or another. And it's very, very scary operating a business in a year like this when confidence amongst farmers is very low. Our employees ask us daily, is there going to be work this winter? They seen the lack of work that happened over the summer due to the drought on the west side, and now tree farmers are feeling the same effect due to low prices and low sales of almonds and pistachios and walnuts. So I'm here to represent them as well as my companies to say that we do need a change desperately. We do not farm, but everything a farmer does affects us one way or another. The only fact I think we all need to realize or give to people when they discuss farmers and water use and whatnot is in 1980, farmers utilized over 36 million acre feet of water to grow their crops. Today, they utilize about 30 million. So in those 40 years, farmers have been able to increase their output by double while reducing their water usage. So that tells me the problems are not with farmers. The problem is the system that has been created, and now farmers are actually paying the price. And this is an injustice, plain and clear. Farmers are resilient, they have conserved, they have changed their practices, they have done their part. We can no longer look to farmers to resolve this water issue. It needs to be moved on to the state and our representatives. Now when we talk about Sigma, that's the catalyst as to why we are here. At Sigma, I calculated the fees for the first phase to be about $300 million amongst everybody in the state that farmers are going to pay. Once we go into phase 2, that number is going to increase to over $500 million a year. There needs to be a way to use that money to build more storage in order to provide more surface water for the farmers. And I'll just wrap this up real quickly by saying that what's going on today is an injustice. The way I see it, there's thousands of people graduating with ag majors that are going to walk into an industry that's going to be reduced. There's tens of thousands of children that are FFA graduates that are not going to have a future either. So I'm very concerned that the lack of vision for my children and my children's children when this industry goes away. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Next, we're gonna have Makhan Singh come up for about 3 minutes, talk about some of the pains of the farmers. And right after this, please have Osvaldo Valencia come up next.
Hello, good morning to everybody. The main issue is the water shortage. Water shortage is because of drought. Drought is because there is no rains, less rains. Our project should be why we are having less rains. We have the same sun, same ocean, same earth. Why we are having short of rains? And that issue is not solved, that is not discussed. And farmers have been fined to arrange money for the recharging. Where that recharging water will be coming from? If from the rivers, why our canals are dry? If it's from the rains, then why we don't think about the rain? We can have artificial rain. There are countries, they have deserts, they have converted it to greenery, and our greenery is going to be desert. So that's a big problem. And I may say, because he said only 2-3 minutes, I may say, look at the Italy. Italy joined the European Union and has to ultimately go bankrupt. And we are heading that because half of it is already done. Our manufacturing have moved and people are jobless over here. No manufacturing, no jobs. People are jobless, they are asking money from the government. Where that money is coming from? That money is coming from the working class. And working class is at a big danger from the non-working class. Very big danger because there are robberies, there are loot, lootings, and there are so many other crimes. So I may suggest that they are the government or the officials, they are thinking that farmers are the only problem. They are creating this water problem because they are pulling more water from the ground. It's not farmers. Water level is falling down all over the world, all over the globe. It's not in Madeira County or this Fresno County only. So what I suggest, we are not blaming anybody. We are just suggesting what should be done. And what I say, it's the government project, not the farmers project only. Central government should help the state government. State government should make arrangements to solve this problem. Because everybody will be affected by the water. Even people living in cities, not farmers, they are affected by the water shortage too. And our bills are going up. Even at the houses, you see, those bills are going up. Water prices, they are going up. We are paying property tax. Farmers are paying property tax for what? That property tax should be used for the farmers' benefit, not for anywhere else. We are helping the other countries. Why we are helping the other countries when we are over here starving? We are having more big lines on the roads. People are spending nights over there. Why we don't take care of them? That's very important. So, but my request is, now the farmers have been already fined too much, almost double the property bill now. So I will request the office bearer or the governor that should be removed. Immediately that should be removed, because farmers cannot pay like that. We already spent too much money to deepen our wells. So that's my request to the office bearers and the governor and the other people, that the farmers are already suffering. So it is an injustice that the farmers to ask them to pay for that. So that's all I want to say. Everybody should support it, that only the government, state government and federal government, they should take over this project. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Makhan Paji. That was great. Now is Valdo Valencia. He's representing the farm labor contractors.
Yes, as you know, today in the morning we woke up at around 2 in the morning to be here, to be supporting all of our farmers. You guys know that the farmer is one of the hardest working persons in all the industries. We are the ones that wake up the earliest. We are the ones that go to sleep the latest. We are the ones that sometimes starve because we need to save money for our electric bills, our chemicals, everything that we spent on the soil, everything that we do. We try to conserve. My family, we're a family of 8, and I have 6 children, and we take shorter showers. We don't have a lawn because we try to put it into our orchards. Last year, we ran out of water, and we tried many ways to get a hold of water, and it was very, very hard. Some of our neighbors pitched in, and the farming community, it's a very, very loving family. There is no color, there is no language barrier. We all do it for the love of the land. And the first farmer in the Bible was Adam. God called out Adam, and he made him a farmer. And through everything that we went, we have been sending it from generation to generation to generation, teaching our kids, and our kids hopefully will teach our grandchildren. So we have to fight for something. They have to understand that the farmer's here to help. We're not here to take, we're here to give. And we give a lot, and we give more than 100%. We do not, there's years that we haven't made money. And the farmer always looks for a better year next year. We always have that hope, that dream, and one day we know that we're gonna fix this water situation, and we have to stand together. And we're representing the Hispanic community. We know that they were talking about there's a huge surplus in California. There's a lot of money in California. And the reason there's a lot of money is because of the farming community. The farming community, we give the most and we take nothing. We don't ask for unemployment. We don't ask for any aid. We just work and work and work. And we pay our taxes. Everyone here pays a lot of taxes. And this Capitol building does not understand where their salaries come from. A lot of these people, they do not understand. They don't see the faces that we see every day. And I think that if we keep standing together and we keep calling their attention, they're gonna have to hear us. They're gonna have to pay attention because food is gonna go scarce. And we don't wanna go back to a Dust Bowl. We don't wanna go back to an era where it was very, very expensive to feed the families. Y quiero agradecerles a toda la comunidad hispana que está aquí. Gracias por haberse preparado en la mañana, haberse levantado. Y queremos agradecerles por todo su arduo trabajo. Sabemos que cada uno de ustedes paga su parte de impuestos sin recibir nada a cambio. Les queremos dar las gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Osvaldo. Next we have Jem Avalos. Jem, please come up for about 2 minutes. And
Okay, thank you. My name is Jim Avalos. I come out of the farming community. I used to be a farmer myself. I used to be in government as well, and I know about water issues. We're here about water. It's very important about water. All the farmers that are here they're fighting for not just the farms, but they're fighting for the American people in this country. Because without the farmers, look around you. Without the farm, no trees, no fruit, no environment, no bushes, no tree. Overall, look at the green grass. We wouldn't have that. But water is very important, not just for the farmer, but for the American people in general. Communities like this community right now in the Capitol. Can you imagine if we cut the water off? What it looked like after about a year? There'd be a desert here. So it's very important that we're here together. But the next time we come back in February, we're going to be bigger. I already know. Mr. Avalos Singh here is going to step up to the plate and bring more players to the deal. We had short notice this time, but you know what? Our planning stage, we're going to make it bigger and better for the American people in our communities in this country. Because California is a #1 producing as far as industry, as far as growing food and everything for the country. Back east, they're drowning in water. We need their water. We could probably get a pipe and pipe it over here. But that's another issue in itself. But the reason I'm here is because I know the value of water. But without water, can you imagine no water? Let's say 3 days with no water. We'll be starving, we'll be dying. And our kids' water level's gonna go down. Arsenic level's gonna go, take over. Our kids are gonna be infested with diseases. So we have to ensure the water for the future, not just now, but also the future of the next generations to come for the next 1,000 years. We got a plan like they did the dams in the future back in the days. They put those dams together. That was a planning stage for the valley. But now it's very important together today. I look at you guys. I'm proud of what I see. This is the beginning of the movement to bring water, not just for the farmers, for the American of this country. Thank you very much.
thanks, Jim. So once again, for next March, it's going to be end of February, beginning of March. Lot bigger, lot different communities, organizations that is committed to join because of the short time notice they weren't able to. So now we're very close to wrapping up. Next will be Martin Chavez from the farm labor perspective. He's going to talk about the impact the farm labor has.
Thank you. My name is Martin Chavez. I'm the son of immigrant farm workers. I also work for Pacific Farm Management with Mike Alamari, as you guys have heard earlier today. I'm also a candidate for Keys County Board of Supervisors. And the reason I say that is because you guys need to look around. Yes, we're at the state capitol today, but you need to look around at your elected officials at the city level, at the county level. They're eventually going to run for a higher office, and you need to see if their values stand with the values of our farming community. So I'm grateful people like Supervisor David Rogers are here, actually advocating, joining you guys. When you guys showed up to the meeting, Mickey showed up, Mickey challenged them to come to Sacramento, and David said he would be there. He's here. So don't only look at their words, look at their actions. From the labor contracting perspective at Pacific Farm Management, we see it every day, you hear it every day. Is there going to be work? Vaya trabajo. We have a lot of campesinos here. Gracias por estar aquí, a los trabajadores de campo. It's very important for them to be here as well, you know, because it doesn't just hurt us, you guys, the farmers, it also hurts the farm workers, and it hurts our local communities. Each day we have one less work, that means less money that's being invested in our local communities. That means less money going to our gas stations, local gas stations, less money going to our local taco shops or local vendors. So thank you again for being here. I also ask you guys, next time, invite 10 friends, invite 20 friends, invite your elected officials. There needs to be a lot more people here. We can't do this with only 200 people. We need a minimum 5,000 people, right? Or more. More, right? Yeah, so let's go out there, invite more people, and don't give up.
Thanks, Martin. You know, to put this event up, there's a lot of people that did a great job. The two of the main pillars that ran all day and night is Archdeep and Paji Amrik Singh. They done a lot of work, and let's give them a hand to get this thing together. So Archdeep, why don't you come up and say a few things.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. You know what? I'm a very religious person, and I think we should be all proud that our administration and bureaucrats, they believe in a God way too much. Because when we ask them to fix something, they look towards the sky and they expect that this year will be a good rain and our problems will be gone. But I don't think that's how our issues are going to be solved. We need to work on the real issues. Everything we see, there's one thing generally, everything is in balance, right? We supply and demand thing. We sell our crops. Everywhere we go, there's a supply and demand things works. Except in our water policies. Because the way they are written, they ask us to voluntarily sometimes they push us to cut the water. Farmers know that part better than anybody else, right? But there is no work done on the supply side of it. In last 30, 40 years, there's hardly anything was built to help the supply side. Yes, our aquifers are getting used more than they should be, but there is a reason for that, because we don't get the surface water. If we're gonna get the ditch water, then we will recharge our fields, then our aquifers will be far better shape, right? And the other thing is, generally we do listen these things that there's a drought. Yes, the California weather was always like this. This is not something new which our generation is saying. There's a drought, serious droughts in the history in the past too. But the thing is that every year, if you guys see the data, in last 50 years you project it, almost every year we have enough water to survive. Doesn't matter for farming, municipalities, or for the lands, we do have enough water. The problem is the mismanagement, right? What are we doing to help fixing the mismanagement from our end? We don't do much, to be honest. We as a farming community need to get together and push our elected officials, and the change have to happen at the policy level. Individuals, we already doing everything we can. Almost everybody have a drip now, especially in the San Joaquin Valley. We try to be as effective or as efficient we can, but the thing needs to be changed is at the policy level. Then is the only time we're gonna see the change or better shape in our water requirements. These are things I want to say, and I want to say thank you to everybody who came today. It gave us so much courage to basically plan the next event. Because remember, this is not going to end today. We just need to be doing what we are doing. We need to keep pushing all these elected officials and the bureaucrats and the policy makers so we can basically fix this issue. There's only way to fix it to make the changes at the policy level. Thank you very much.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਅਰਸ਼ ਨਾਂ ਵੀ ਅਰਸ਼ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਅਰਸ਼ ਵੀ ਅਰਸ਼ਦੀਪ ਤੇ ਲਾਈਟ ਵੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਅਰਸ਼ ਯੂ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਵੰਡਰਫੁਲ ਜੌਬ ਯੂ ਵਰਕਿੰਗ ਸੋ ਹਾਰਡ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੈਕਨੀਕਲ ਸਾਰਾ ਪੇਪਰ ਵਰਕ ਆ ਹੋਲਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਇਹ ਡਿਊਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਅਰਸ਼ਦੀਪ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਜਸਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਲਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਜਸਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੈਕਟਸ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸੱਚ ਤੇ ਸਹੀ ਆ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਘੱਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਨੰਬਰ ਆ ਇਹ ਪੂਰੇ ਐਕੂਰੇਟ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਆ ਇਸ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਰਾਈਟ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ 20% ਆਬਾਦੀ ਆ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਇੱਧਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੋਟਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗਾ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਨਾ ਟੈਕਨੀਕਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਉਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਚੰਗੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਮੁੜ ਰਿਪੀਟ ਕਰੀਏ ਇੱਧਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ 80% ਆਬਾਦੀ ਆ ਆਲ ਦਾ ਵੇ ਟੂ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ ਸੈਨ ਡਿਏਗੋ ਇੰਪੀਰੀਅਲ ਵੈਲੀ ਤੱਕ ਇੱਧਰ 20% ਆ ਪਾਣੀ 20% ਜਿੱਥੇ 80% ਆਬਾਦੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ 20% ਆਬਾਦੀ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ 80% ਪਾਣੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਅਨਜਸਟਡ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਅਨਜਸਟਡ ਆ ਵੈਲੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਥਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫਰਵਰੀ ਤੱਕ ਹੀ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਫਰਵਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਆਨਰੇਬਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਾਈਵੇ ਪੈਟਰੋਲ ਇਹ ਕਮਾਂਡ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਏਰੀਆ ਉਹਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ 5 ਸਾਲ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਚੱਲਣੀ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੰਬਲੀ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਰਵਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਆਹ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗਾਂ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਮੂਵੀ 'ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਸੁਣਦਾ ਪਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਆਇਆ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਬੈਸਟ ਮੂਵੀ ਹੈ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਵਰਲਡ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਖਬਰ ਸਾਰੀ ਇਹ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਘਰ ਘਰ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤਕੜੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਆ ਜਾਓ ਫਰਵਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਫਿਸਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਫੀਸਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਕਾਂਗਰਸਮੈਨ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਤੇ ਨਾਲੇ ਇਹ ਭੁੱਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਘੱਟ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟ 5-10 ਹਜ਼ਾਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਰਹਿ ਜਿਓ ਗੁਆਂਢੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੋਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਸਪਲਾਇਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਸਪਲਾਈ ਲੈਣੇ ਟਰੈਕਟਰਾਂ ਵਾਲੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਕੋਲ ਜਾਓ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਭਾਈ ਫਰਵਰੀ 'ਚ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਓ ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਤਿਆਰ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੀਰ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਿਬਰੈਂਡਿੰਗ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਆਪਣਾ ਮੰਗ ਪੱਤਰ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਪੱਤਰ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਣ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਣਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਫੋਟੋ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੂਫ ਹੋਊਗੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਲੈਟਰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਵਰਨਰ ਦੇ ਆਫਿਸ 'ਚ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੂਫ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੈਮਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਫੋਟੋਆਂ ਡੇਟ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਕਹਿਣ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਮਨ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਾ ਭਰਿਆ ਪਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੱਚੀ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਸੋਈ ਜਾਣੇ ਮੰਡੇਰੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਵਾਈਟ ਏਰੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਫਾਈਨ ਲੱਗਾ ਦੋ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਂ ਲੈ ਦੇਣਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਫ੍ਰੈਂਚਲੀ ਪਤਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦੇਵ ਸਿੰਘ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਮੱਖਣ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਿੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਦੇਖੇ ਆ ਜਿੱਦਣ ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਬਿੱਲ ਰਿਸੀਵ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਆਈ ਵਾਸ ਟੈਲਿੰਗ ਰਾਜਰ we have a 27th last date at the Madeira chamber 28 I receive a bill for $108,000 that's been over almost it's going to be a month tomorrow in 1 month I told Roger this is true my wife is so sick she don't sleep because she got a cancer I got the bill I don't know how I can pay the next 40 days. What, I gonna pay the county first, or I gonna make my payment to the bank? The almond price is $1.25. Not gonna make my payment. I gonna go into debts right now. How you gonna sleep? A farmer can't sleep all night. ਸਵੇਰ ਨੂੰ 4 ਵਜੇ ਸੌਂ ਜੀਦਾ ਤੇ 8 ਵਜੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਾ ਖੁੱਲਦੀ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ. Who's gonna knock your door? Bank? In 30 days, if you don't make your payment, they can default. They're gonna put the lien on your property. Number one, who put the lien? Government, office. This is the way you said in 30 days you don't make your property take payment, plus the bill on it 246. If you don't pay in 30 days, then what happened? They go default. Then what happened? Put the lien on your property. Then what happened? Take 7 years to take the lien off. Take 7 years to take the lien off from your property. I just should share with my feeling. But that's what happening going on right now. But when we came to this country, nobody knows this can be happen today where you said today. We don't want to come here. We come here for pleasure. We come here for the California dream. Families, friends, ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਗਾਉਣਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਿਰਾਦਰਾਂ ਲਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮਗਾਇਆ ਟੁੱਟ ਬਰਦਰ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੁਰਾ ਭਲਾ ਕਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੱਟਣਾ ਸੀ ਇਸ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਦੇ 100 ਵਾਰੀ ਮਾਰ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਿਸਟੇਕ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਗਾਲ ਘੁੱਟਦੀ ਆ ਉਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗੋਲਡਨ ਸਟੇਟ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ ਗੋਲਡਨ ਸਟੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਗੋਲਡਨ ਸਟੇਟ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਹਾਲ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਜੇ ਨਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਆਈ ਗਰੰਟੀ ਯੂ ਮਡੇਰਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਈਟ ਏਰੀਆ ਇਨ 2 years the people are going to go to bankrupt exactly 2 years they're saying oh they're going to start the canal and all the water stuff coming in 2025 tunnel why don't bring the tunnel 1999 Shasta Lake built in they're supposed to raise 18 feet higher they can hold 600 million gallon whole California get the water who's going to do that to see you man nobody who can do that the people we elect they're supposed to do their job they didn't do their homework they should do their homework they should bring the Jerry Brown approved 2 tunnel 2014 why didn't start that who's going to start the farmer or you going to get the money from the farmer $200 then you going to start the basin for us that's true when the father says child you bring the money I feed you shame on the second father father is responsible to take care of the families governor is our father he need to take care of this state he need to bring the water we paying for it farmer sitting here last 40-50 years paying plenty tax property tax I pay property tax last 30 years I count 25 times 30 years you can do the math right now $750,000 what I get for $750,000 for 30 years you tell me if you get something maybe I don't get them maybe they don't reach me maybe they reach you all these Paji Amarjeet all these Pavi Panjama honi kado de kheti karde a they've been farming last 50 years where our property tax go to what the return we got for that that's what you come here and knock the door like I say we have a lot to say Paji bring accurate information that's what we learned from that's what we doing last 2 months we didn't sleep 2 months I'm telling you I'm sorry it looked like a little bit aggressive but that's what happened this is the truth and I'm so sorry and lunch is ready welcome to you everybody and get ready for the February again
no thanks Paji that is truly coming from the heart you know known Paji for a while so he works very very hard one of the things we want to do is acknowledge all pro entertainment Ranjit Singh Dosanjh and munde ne bahut kam kita he is basically donating his services here and right at the last minute when we ask him he's here and he's supporting the cause so Ranjit thank you yeah so next I wanted to bring it in for 1 minute Paul Hundle
Hi, this is Paul Hundle, and I'm here to support everybody who's going through the hard time with the drought. Yeah, we do have a drought, and there's not so much we can do about it, but we can do something about the water that we already have, that the farmer's not getting. As we sit here, we know that the water is going back into the sea right now, and some of the excuses we hear is like, oh, if we take that water, the salt water is going to come back inland and contaminate. Well, I'm sure we have enough engineers to figure that out. We can build a wall that can raise up and down depending on the flow of the river. A giant check valve, everybody knows about a check valve, the irrigation. It can flow water one way, but the salt water can't come in. So there's solutions for that. There's water, and then there's dangerous species, fish, a particular kind, and we can't pump that water. The farmer can get that water. I'm sure we can figure out some sort of a screen around the pumps and find solutions. So I tell our politicians that we need to prioritize for the water that we already have that we can get, and we figure out the excuses that we keep getting. Excuses lead nowhere. There's dead end road, those excuses. We need real solution. We need people to work with the farmers and also invest in the infrastructure in the future, how to take water, how to make it more efficient. So I'm really concerned myself. I'm a small farmer, but I grow nursery, and so I sell nursery to everybody throughout California. So maybe there's pockets of more stream drought, and then, but we want everybody to have water and be prosperous. So I don't want to take any more of the time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Paji. Mehrwani. ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣਾ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਟੂ ਸਾਡੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇਜਰ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਆਓ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ। ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਮਾਨ ਹੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਲੀਜ਼, ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ, ਡਾਕਟਰ, ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ, ਬਾਕਮਾਲ ਆ, ਅਟਰਨੀ ਆ, ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਬੇਟੀਆਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਈਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਸਵੇਰੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਦੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਿਆਸਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾੜੋ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡਾ ਬਿੱਲ ਸੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਯਾਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਚੌਂ ਇੱਕ ਨਾ ਪਾਸ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਸਾਡਾ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਬੰਦਾ ਸੁਪਰਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਸਾਡੇ ਵੱਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਦਾ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਓ। ਦੂਸਰਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਨਾਈਸਲੀ ਵੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ, ਇਹ ਪੀਪਲ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਨਾ। ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸੈਂਡਲ ਪਾਏ ਹੋ ਆ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੇ ਕਦੀ ਨਹਿਰ 'ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਡੂੰਘਾ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਓ ਸਾਨੂੰ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਲੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਲੈਕਟ ਕਰੀਏ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ। ਆ ਜਾਓ ਭਾਜੀ ਸੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਆ ਜਾਓ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ। ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਾ ਲਈਏ? ਪਾਣੀ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੌਣ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ? ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ।
ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਟ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੀ ਗੋਲਡਨ ਸਟੇਟ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਰਾਜਧਾਨੀ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ ਵਿੱਚ 71 ਸਮੁੱਚੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਵੀਰੋ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਰਕਟ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਵੀਰ ਨੇ, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਸ ਵੀ ਮਸਲੇ ਲਈ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਮਾਲਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਭਾਵਨਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੂਰ ਲਾਵੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇਸ ਮੋਰਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਫਲ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ। ਤੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਮੈਂ ਭਾਗੇ ਹੋਣੀ ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਲ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਬਹੁਤ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕੋ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿਣੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ, ਚੰਗੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਮਾੜੇ ਤੂੰ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਾਤਿਆ ਔਕਾਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਾਤਿਆ ਔਕਾਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖੀ। ਭਾਵੇਂ ਅਸੀਂ 7 ਸਮੁੰਦਰੋਂ ਪਾਰ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੀ ਇਸ ਸਰਜ਼ਮੀਨ 'ਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਬਣੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਲਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਨੇ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੋਰਚਾ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਜਿੱਤ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕੀਤੀ, ਮਿਲਿਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਬੜੇ ਸੂਝਵਾਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੀਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਰੈਲੀ ਵੀ ਸੁਚੱਜੇ ਢੰਗ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ। ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਮ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਕੱਲੇ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 50 ਤੋਂ 100 ਮੈਂਬਰ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ। ਸਾਡਾ ਐਤਕੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸ਼ਾਰਟ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਸੀਗਾ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸ਼ਲਾਘਾਯੋਗ ਕਦਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਦਮ ਪੱਟਣ ਲਈ ਇੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੁਲਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਬੀਜ ਅੱਜ ਬੀਜ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਫਲਤਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਦਮ ਚੁੰਮੇਗੀ। ਆਪਾਂ 71 ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਆਪਸੀ ਪਿਆਰ ਬਣਾਈ ਰੱਖੇ। ਤੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੇਕਰ ਸਪੀਡ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਚੀਕੋ ਤੱਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਤਰ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਦਮ ਕਦਮ ਸਰਮਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਨਿਜਰ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਟੁੱਟ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਤੂਰ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਸਮਰਾ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਪੰਮਾ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਵੀਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਤਰ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਮਾਹਲ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹੈ, ਬੈਂਸ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹੈ, ਰੱਕੜ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਬੋਲਦਿਆਂ ਕੋਈ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ ਇੱਧਰ ਉੱਧਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੋਵੇ, ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਵੀਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ, ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਇੱਕ ਨਾਰਾ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਨੋ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਨੋ ਫੂਡ, ਨੋ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਨੋ ਫੂਡ, ਨੋ ਵਾਟਰ ਨੋ ਫੂਡ, ਨੋ ਵਾਟਰ ਨੋ ਫੂਡ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਸੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਭਾਜੀ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ। ਐਂਡ ਨਾਓ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਪਾਲ ਭਾਜੀ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੇਰ ਕਨੇ ਸੇ ਫਿਊ ਵਰਡਸ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜੋ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ 'ਚ ਖੜੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਈਏ ਤੇ ਜਕਾਰਾ ਬੁਲਾਈਏ। ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ। ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੈਦਰਿੰਗ ਆ ਉਹ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਾਰਡ ਵਰਕ ਫਾਰਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਉਨਾ ਹਾਰਡ ਵਰਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ। ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਮੁੱਚੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਫਰਜ਼ ਬਣਦਾ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਆਪਣੇ ਨੇਬਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿਰੁੱਧ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਰੁਜ਼ਗਾਰ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ। ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਆ, ਹਰ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਵਰਕਰ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਇਸ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪਲ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਟਰੱਕਿੰਗ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਲਿਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਤੋਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਔਰ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਤੋਂ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਾਨ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਟਰੱਕ ਵੀ ਚਲਾਏ ਨੇ, ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਮਾਨ ਵਾਟਸਨਵਿਲ ਤੋਂ ਸਟ੍ਰਾਬਰੀਆਂ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਤੇ ਡਿਲੀਵਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ। ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਸੋਚਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਆ, ਜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ, ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਿਲੀਅਨਸ ਏਕੜ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਇਹ ਬੰਜਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ। ਸਾਰੇ ਬੁਲਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣੂ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ, ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਲਈ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਚਿੰਤਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਰਕ ਕਰੀਏ। ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਰੈਲੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਹ 500 ਨਹੀਂ, 1000 ਨਹੀਂ, ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ 20,000 ਦੀ ਗੈਦਰਿੰਗ ਹੋਵੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੱਲੇ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਇਲਾਕੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਔਰ ਨਾਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਰੈਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੈਦਰਿੰਗ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਕਰੀਏ। ਤੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਟੋਟਲ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਹੈ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੱਲੇ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਹਿੰਮਤ ਮਾਰੀ ਆ ਔਰ ਸਮਾਂ ਵੀ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਇੰਨਾ ਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Amritpal Paji, thank you very much. We would like to acknowledge and thank quite a few people that make this thing possible within a very short period of time. Number one,
is really Punjabi Radio USA, Harjot Singh Khalsa, San Jose. They have done a lot of work to promote the Aj Apna cause. Yeah, so all the Langar Seva, which will be here very, very shortly, is done by Bhai Avtar Singh Ji, Gurdwara Dashmesh Darbar, ਇੱਥੇ Sacramento ਦਾ Madeira ਦੇ farmer ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ and also want to acknowledge Pravinder Singh Samra ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੜੀ ਬੜੀ help ਕੀਤੀ Bitta Tour, Son Singh Samra and everyone else given a lot of, they have contributed financially to make this thing possible. And we really want to go out our ways. Really likes to thank Mark Nikada and Rob Pedrosi and Bob and Matthew and the rest of the team. You know, it's these kind of events cannot be put out individually. It's all a team effort. We're all together. So Mix Printing Horseshoe is really offered t-shirts. So now I wanted to invite Punjabi Radio USA Raj Karan, and I also wanted to tell you on Punjabi Radio USA we have a farmers program every Tuesday from 3 to 4. Different topics are covered. Please listen to a Punjabi Radio USA from 3 to 4 p.m. on every Tuesday. So Raj Karan, please come up. Yeah. ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੱਗ ਦੀ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, there's a lot of new program. Deep Singh, NRCS is providing a lot of different programs, help to the farmers. So with that, Raj Karan, thanks for all your support, covering everything.
ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ So we are over here in Sacramento in front of Capitol building, all for the farmers and everybody related to the farmers, because this community is huge. It's just not the farmers gonna go out of business, everybody else who is related to farming will go out of business. And where are we going to relocate? Where are we going to go? So without water, there is nothing. So we have to raise our voice for these farmers, for the farm workers. And we at Punjabi Radio USA always try to do that. We have a special show of Update Farming every Tuesday, 3 to 4 p.m. In which we talk about all the farming issues in California. So please tune into that show as well. And thank you all the farmers for turning in today, everybody else who came in for the water issue, for all the farming issues. So ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਕੇ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ, ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ।
ਰਾਜ ਜੀ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ, ਯੂ ਡਿਡ ਗੁੱਡ ਜੌਬ। ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਸੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੋਕਲ ਖੜੇ ਆ, ਮਾਰਕ ਰੀਡ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੁਪਰਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਲਿਆਓ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸੁਪਰਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ ਰੀ-ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਰਿਪੀਲ ਕਰ ਦਊਂਗਾ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਲੁਕਸ ਗੁੱਡ। ਅਤੇ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਲੰਗਰ ਸੈੱਟ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹੀ ਸੀਗਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਆ, ਲੰਗਰ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਟੇਬਲ 'ਤੇ ਸੱਜ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰ ਦਈਏ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਮਾਇਆ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਹੋਤਾ ਗੁਰਦੇਵ ਸਿੰਘ $1000। ਹੁਣ ਪੈਸੇ ਤਾਂ ਚਲੋ ਦਲਵੀਰ ਚਾਹਲ ਵਾਹਵਾ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਹਜ਼ਾਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਹੀ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਈਏ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ। ਐਂਡ ਗੁਰਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਬੱਲ, ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਲ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ, ਐਂਡ ਗੁਰਜੀਤ ਧਾਲੀਵਾਲ $1000, ਨਿਜਰ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ 1000, ਐਂਡ ਸੋਹਣ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਮਰਾ 1500+ buses, ਐਂਡ ਕੋਈ ਦਾਨੀ ਸੱਜਣ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ $1000, ਸਿਮਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਐਂਡ ਸਨਰਾਈਜ਼ ਟਰੱਕ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਐਂਡ $1000, ਪਰਮਿੰਦਰ ਸਮਰਾ $2000+, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੱਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ, ਸਟੀਵਨ ਰੋਨੀ $100, ਬਿੱਟਾ ਤੂੜ ਬਿੱਟੇ ਦਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ। ਪਤਾ ਕਿਉਂ? ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਸੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਨਾ ਤੁਰੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਇੱਧਰ ਉੱਧਰ, ਬਿੱਟਾ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੰਡ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੇਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚੱਲੂਗਾ। ਮੈਂ ਹੱਸਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਢ ਪੈਸੇ। ਬਿੱਟੇ ਨੇ ਫਿਰ $2000 ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਰੱਖਿਆ। ਬਿੱਟਾ ਤੂੰ ਤੇਰਾ ਛੋਟੇ ਵੀਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮੱਚ। ਸੰਤੋਖ ਸਿੰਘ ਤੂੰ $2000 ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। RJ ਸੰਗੇਰਾ ਸੰਗਾ 1000, ਬਿਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਿੱਜਰ $500 ਐਂਡ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮੱਚ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਧਾਲੀਵਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਵੀਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ $1000 ਮੈਂ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਲੰਗਰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਫਿਰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਆ, ਹੁਣ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮੂਹਰੇ ਕਰਦਾ, ਸਾਰੇ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ, ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕਰੋ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਥਾਂ ਆ ਮਾਰਚ 15 ਨੂੰ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ, 5 ਸਾਲ ਲਈ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਚੱਲਣੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਰੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਰੀਬਿਲਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਫਰੰਟ। ਜਨਵਰੀ ਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਣੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਡੇਟ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਿਕ ਕਰੀਏ। ਹਾਈਵੇ ਪੈਟਰੋਲ ਤੋਂ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਟਰੈਕਟਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਟਰੈਕਟਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਲੈਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਆ ਜਾਊਗੇ। ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੰਬਲਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਮਾਰੋ, ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਖੱਤਾ ਫੇਰ ਵਾਓ। ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਾਰਡ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਦੀ ਟੁੱਟ ਜਾਏ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹਲ ਥੱਲੇ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਏ 6 ਫੁੱਟ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਥੱਲੇ ਲੀਚ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਵੇ ਤੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਇੱਧਰ ਵੀ ਲੀਚ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਵੇ, ਪਿਛਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ। ਤੇ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਖਿਆਲ ਰੱਖਣਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਵੀਰ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਵਾਹੀ ਦਾ ਹਲ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਮੰਨੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਛ ਕਰਨ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ। ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ। ਭਾਈ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਜੀ। ਕਿਹਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਂ ਲਵਾਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਦਾ ਆਪਣਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਸਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯੂ ਆਰ ਦਾ ਬੈਸਟ। ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਸੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕ੍ਰੈਡਿਟ ਦੇਣਾ ਮੰਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਯਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ ਆ ਕੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨਹੀਂ, 4 ਵਜੇ 3 ਵਜੇ ਉੱਠਿਆ ਕਿਉਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੀਬੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ 3 ਵਜੇ ਚੱਲ ਗਈ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਵੀ ਬੱਸ ਜਾਣੀ ਆ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ 4 ਵਜੇ ਦੇ ਘੱਟ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟ ਉੱਠੇ ਹੋ, ਬੱਸਾਂ 'ਚ ਆਏ ਆ। ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਅੰਦੋਲਨ ਨੂੰ ਵੱਡਾ ਕਰੋ। ਇਸ ਅੰਦੋਲਨ ਦੀਆਂ ਜੜ੍ਹਾਂ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਾਓ ਪਿਆਰ ਦਾ। ਇਸ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜੋ। ਇਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਤੇ ਚੱਲੀਏ। ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਬੋਲਣੀ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਬੋਲੂੰਗਾ, ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਸੁਣਾਉਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ, ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਤੇ ਟੁਕਦਾ। ਹਾਂਜੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਉਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਬਈ ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਨਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਆ। ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਖੇਤੀ ਕਰਨ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨਾਰਵੀ ਬਰਾੜ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਬਾਂਹ ਫੜੀ ਸੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਲੈ ਬਈ ਲੈ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਦਾਮ ਬਦੂਮ ਝਾੜ ਦਿਆਂਗੇ, ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ। ਭਾਜੀ ਗੁਰਮੇਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ। ਇੱਕ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਲੰਬੇਰੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੰਮ ਦਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ। ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੁਣ ਲਿਓ ਇਹ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ। ਗੋਸਲ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਜੂਬਾ ਸਿਟੀ ਤੋਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੂਥ ਲਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇੱਕ ਪੱਗ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਬੂਥ ਲਾਈਏ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਗਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ 'ਤੇ, ਉਦੋਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਕਰੀਏ, ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਲਾਈਏ। ਆਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਆ ਨਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਦਾ ਲੰਬੇਰੀ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪੇ ਤੁਰੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਈ ਸੀ। ਤਾਂ ਦੁੱਖ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਲਿਖਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਾ, ਲਿਖਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦਾ। ਲਿਖਾਰੀ ਦੁੱਖ ਨਾਲ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਆਤਮਾ ਝੋਕਦੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਫੁੱਟਦਾ ਉਹ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਮੋਹਰੇ। ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ, ਬਾਹਲਾ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਹੋਰ ਲੰਬੇਰਾ। ਤੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਚੱਲ ਗਈਆਂ। ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਖੇਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਸੀਨਾ ਝੋਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੱਥ ਨਾਲ ਭੁੰਜੇ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ ਨਾ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਪਸੀਨਾ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪ ਖੇਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਪਸੀਨਾ ਤੇਰਾ ਧਰਤੀ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬੋਲਦਾ, ਪਸੀਨਾ ਤੇਰਾ ਧਰਤੀ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬੋਲਦਾ, ਉਹ ਵਕਤ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਬੀਜਣ ਦਾ, ਤੂੰ ਬੀਜ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੋਚਦਾ, ਬੀਜ ਤੇਰਾ ਹੈ ਲੋਚਦਾ। ਜਦੋਂ ਧਰਤੀ 'ਚ ਨਾ ਪਸੀਨਾ ਡੈਗਦਾ, ਧਰਤੀ ਗਿੱਲੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਧਰਤੀ ਬੋਲਦੀ ਆ, ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਵਕਤ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਬੀਜਣ ਦਾ, ਬੀਜ ਤੇਰਾ ਮੈਂ ਲੋਚਦਾ। ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਖੱਤਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੁਕਾਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ। ਤੇ ਖੂਨ ਪਸੀਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਜੱਟਾਂ ਦਾ ਵਹਿੰਦਾ ਆ, ਇਹ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਆ। ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਕਿਆ ਬਾਤ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ, ਗੁਰੂ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਭਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਤਕੜੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰੀਏ ਕਾਰੋਬਾਰ ਇਹ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ।
So with all of this, we'd like to thank everyone that